And that's a bad time because the snow is about to get brutal here in the United States. Damn. Damn, my boy. Hopefully you figure that out. All right. Jack Smith's testimony for Donald Trump and the investigations. That's what we're looking at today. Don't know how much I'm going to include in a video, but the bare minimum, we're going to look at it, see what they got to say. It is a very long one, so we'll see how long we want to stay for this. But it's important because Jack Smith did note at some point that he was confident that he had very damning evidence on Donald Trump. Let me find the exact quote. Jack Smith saying Trump. Let's see if I could find the exact quote before. So it's right here. So let me show this first. So he was confident enough to say he can prove that Donald Trump is engaged in criminal activity. Right here.
Yesterday, lawmakers grilled him about his investigation into President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election.
Smith was subpoenaed to testify as part of a Republican-led investigation into the 2020 election.
He said he can prove it. Are we going to get an exact quote or?
Here is a battle between Republicans who are seeking to undermine this investigation and undercut it.
Well, we're not going to get an exact quote, but this is the reporting. He said he could prove that Trump is in a criminal scheme, right? So now we're finally here for him to get grilled by MAGA, for him to get questioned by Democrats. So let's dive right into it.
Campaign. This, of course, led to the Mueller investigation, 2.5 years, 19 lawyers, 40 agents, $30 million to find nothing. No conspiracy, no coordination whatsoever. Then it was impeachment one. The anonymous whistleblower. We couldn't even know who was bringing the charge against the guy they were trying to take it. The guy we elected, who they're trying to kick out of office. We couldn't know. Secret hearings in the bunker, in the basement of the Capitol. Again, nothing. Then it was impeachment two. No secret hearings here because they didn't have any hearings. It was a snap impeachment. And the Senate trial actually took place after President Trump wasn't in office. Then, of course, it was Alvin Bragg, who said before he got elected district attorney that there was no case here. Then he gets elected and changes his mind when the
having a chairman be this biased is kind of ridiculous. I don't care what side you're on. You're the chairman. Get Donald Trump's dick out of your mouth.
Starts pressuring him to go after President Trump. He hires Michael Colangelo, former Democrat National Committee consultant, and the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice. And then, of course, it's Fani Willis and Nathan Wade in Fulton County, Georgia. We actually deposed Mr. Wade, one of the most interesting depositions I've sat through. We said to him, you bill taxpayers in Georgia thousands of dollars for meetings in D.C. with the January 6th committee and with the Biden administration. And we asked him some questions. Who'd you talk to, Mr. Wade? He couldn't remember. We said, where'd you meet? Did you meet the Capitol? Did you meet the White House? Where'd you meet? Couldn't remember that either. We said, were these meetings in person, on the phone, or did you have a Zoom meeting? Couldn't remember. We finally just asked him, did you really come to D.C. and meet people? He said, oh, yeah, I came. And I built the tech.
Oh, is he just giving the fat pattern? Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe let me tone it down. Let me calm down. I actually know nothing about this guy. Jim Jordan protecting sex predators since Ohio State. There's a lot of weird stuff surrounding Ohio State. There's a lot of weird stuff. And I got into college football recently, and I decided to root for Ohio State. Root for the players. I don't really care about the college that much. But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Taxpayers. I know I came. Just no idea who he talked to or what he did. And then there was the raid on President Trump's home.
See, when you say it like that, the raid on President Trump's home, it seems like it's very biased. I tell people all the time, words matter. Words matter. Inflection, tone matters. It very clearly paints a story based on how you kind of say certain things. So, yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think he is a Donald Trump dick sucker.
Where they searched Barron's room and the First Lady's closet. in our deposition with Stephen D'Antuono, head of the FBI Washington field office, he told us none of the normal process, none of the normal protocol was followed in the investigation. He said, first of all, the case was run out of D.C. Normally, you run it out of the Miami field office. No, we're going to run out of D.C. He said he recommended, and the people in the FBI at the time in the Washington field office recommended they give the president notice before they do the search, or at least when they got there, before they start the search, call the president's lawyers, ask them to come there and meet them and conduct the search together. Again, the answer from Main Justice was no. Which brings us back to Mr. Smith. On November 18th, 2022, 3 days after President Trump announces he's running for president, Attorney General Garland names Jack Smith special counsel. One of the first things Mr. Smith does is put on his team the very people responsible for the raid on President Trump's home. The very people. And then Jack Smith also puts on his team the people responsible for getting the phone records of.
Let's be very clear. Donald Trump was not supposed to have those documents in his home. He was asked repeatedly to return them, and he said no. But yeah, let's characterize it as a raid. A raid. Okay, buddy. All right, buddy. All right, pal.
Dozens of members of Congress. People like Thomas Wyndham, who, when we deposed him, took the fifth 71 times. We've actually referred him to the Justice Department for obstructing our investigation. Jack Smith then gets a gag order.
Pleading the fifth is obstruction of justice now? I thought that was a constitutional right. You can't plead the fifth anymore? Based. W.
Order in his investigation on President Trump from Judge Chutkan without filing a single affidavit with the court from a witness or a potential witness that they felt threatened by statements from the president. Stop and think about it. Jack Smith restricts the speech of the former president while he's a candidate for president. Thank goodness Mr. Smith was slapped down on appeal and the order was changed. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Washington Post editorial page, Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. I just want to read 2 sentences from this. Mr. Smith seemed unconcerned about interfering. 2 sentences from Jack Smith would have back just 2 weeks ago, the Washington Post editorial page.
The Washington Post. Why does that sound familiar? Why does the Washington Post sound familiar? One of these days, I'm going to do a dedicated stream about Jared Kushner, because that man is kind of creepy. Is it owned by Jeff Bezos? Why did I think Paramount owned? It was sold to Jeff Bezos. Well, Jeff Bezos is cringe. Who does Paramount own? Who does the Paramount people own? What news source does Paramount own? CBS News. Paramount owns CBS News. Okay. So Jeff Bezos, a Trump friend, owns Washington Post. And then Paramount owns CBS News and the Free Press. Gotcha.
Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. I just want to read 2 sentences from this.
Is this an editorial or is this an article? Like a news article.
Smith restricts the speech of the former president, the court, from a witness or a potential witness that they felt threatened by statements from the president. Stop and think about it. Jack Smith restricts the speech of the former.
I'm going to limit my pausing. This is 4 hours long. I'm not going to be here for 4 hours. I'm going to limit my pausing. I'm going to skip a little bit.
Former president while he's a candidate for president. Thank goodness Mr. Smith was slapped down on appeal and the order was changed. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Washington Post editorial page, Jack Smith.
Oh, it wasn't editorial. Fuck your editorial. I don't give a fuck.
Would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. I just want to read 2 sentences from this. Mr. Smith seemed unconcerned about interfering in the democratic process by seeking to muzzle a candidate for high office. 3 appellate judges, all nominated by Democrat presidents, ruled that Mr. Smith's proposed gag order infringed on President Trump's First Amendment rights. And of course,
imagine using an editorial.
And this wasn't the only time Mr. Smith lost in court.
Evidence.
In the classified documents case in Miami, Judge Cannon held that Mr. Smith was not permitted to be special counsel. Jack Smith was never properly appointed. In fact, he couldn't be properly appointed because he was never confirmed by the Senate for any position in the executive branch as the law requires. Here's what Judge Kagan stated. Quote, the special counsel's position effectively usurps that important legislative authority, transferring it to a head of department, and in the process threatening the structural liberty inherent in the separation of powers. And of course, on July 1st, 2024, the United States Supreme Court ruled that President Trump had immunity for actions taken in his official capacity as the president. 1 month later, after this decision by the Supreme Court, Jack Smith files a superseding indictment on August 27th, 2024. But Mr. Smith doesn't stop there. He does something unprecedented. On October 2nd, he files a motion with the court before President Trump's defense counsel has even responded to the indictment. Everyone knows the normal process is the government indicts, the defense responds with some motions, and then the government responds to the defense. But Mr. Smith skips the second step. And the brief that he files is 165 pages, almost 4 times the court limit. Even liberal judges.
Amen. A lot of people are saying all this stuff regarding Greenland is all a distraction for the Epstein files. Greenland and Venezuela, distraction for the Epstein files. Because they released like 5% of those files. Where's the rest? They went out of their way to go after Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. You know who else's name is in it? Donald Trump. It's very interesting. I know why they went after Bill and Hillary. I don't give a shit if they went after Bill and Hillary. I don't care about those people. But it's interesting. Feels like they're trying to create a scapegoat, considering Bill's name and Donald Trump's name is in there about, I think Donald Trump's name is in there more than Bill Clinton. So, all right, base.
Chutkin, who's given Jack Smith everything he's asked for in the course of this investigation, even she called it atypical and irregular. Now, why would Jack Smith do that? Why would he abandon proper procedure? Why would he ignore court rules? Why would he do that? Because he's running out of time. There's an election around the corner. It's coming in 33 days, and he's got to get President Trump. He's got to stop President Trump from running tie him.
Anytime MAGA goes like, Biden should have released it, these are the same motherfuckers that were going like, vote for Trump so Donald Trump releases it. So they complain that Biden didn't release it. And then when Trump is in office where you want him to release it, now you guys are still talking about Biden not releasing it. You guys are pathetic. You are pathetic. Get a grip. Get a grip. Get some consistency. Stop defending a pedophile, you weirdos.
Him up in court. He's got to get to trial, or at a minimum, insert an 165-page political document into the presidential campaign. It was always about politics. The good news is the American people saw through it.
Lock up Bill,
they
lock up Trump. I don't care.
For so long, the left has controlled so much in this country. The left controlled big media, the left controlled big tech, the left controlled academia, Hollywood, certainly the Democrat Party, and I think all too much the federal bureaucracy. But the left doesn't control we the people. And in spite of the left and the weaponization efforts of Jim Comey, Alvin Bragg, Bonnie Willis, and Jack Smith, we the people saw it all.
Down his throat.
We elected President Trump twice. Before turning to the ranking member for his opening statement, I would just ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the Washington Post editorial, Jack Smith would have blown a hole in the First Amendment. And with that, I yield to the gentleman from Maryland.
Well, thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. I want to start by recognizing the presence of 4 American heroes here today, 4 of the hundreds of officers who defended us on January 6, 2021. Michael Fanone, Aquilino Gunnell, Daniel Hodges, and Harry Dunn. And I thank them for...
I think I got to delete my channel. This guy told me to delete my channel, so I have to delete it. I have to end the stream, just delete the channel. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it.
Being here today. Mr. Smith, thank you for appearing before the American people. I'm glad that the committee has finally granted you the same chance to report your findings to the American people that every other special counsel investigating an American president has had. The good chairman started by saying it's all about the politics. Well, maybe for them, but for us, it's all about the rule of law and who's going to stand by the rule of law and who's going to oppose it. Now, Mr. Smith, you're one of America's great prosecutors. For nearly 3 decades, you worked for justice under both Republicans and Democrats. The Manhattan DA office, where you prosecuted sex crimes and domestic violence cases. The Eastern District of New York, where you prosecuted murderers, rapists, gangbangers, and other violent criminals. Leading the public integrity section At the Department of Justice, you brought prosecutions against corrupt public officials across the political spectrum. When you went to The Hague as chief prosecutor in the Kosovo trial, you prosecuted war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated against thousands of innocent victims. While others may have devoted their lives to corrupt self-enrichment, you have devoted your life to the rule of law and to public service. You've never been prosecuted for anything. You've never been convicted of anything. As far as I can tell, you've never even been the subject of a disciplinary proceeding over the course of your multi-decade career. But Donald Trump says you're a criminal and you belong in prison. He says you belong in prison, not because you did anything wrong, mind you, but because you did everything right. You pursued the facts, you followed the law, you stuck with extreme caution to every rule of professional responsibility. You had the audacity to do your job. Everybody here knows what you did wrong in Donald Trump's eyes and why he says you belong in prison. You found, and I quote from your sworn testimony before the committee, you found proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful.
I mean, isn't that what mullets do? You know, shout out to mullets. Just trying to make the decision makes you sound such. I don't know. I don't know if you did it well, Dale. Try it again. Do it again. Do it
Transfer
again.
of power.
Try it again.
When asked whether you believe the evidence was enough to obtain a criminal conviction against Donald Trump at trial, you had a one-word answer: yes. When asked if Donald Trump was responsible for the violence that took place at the Capitol on January 6th, you said, our view of the evidence was that he caused it and that he exploited it and that it was foreseeable to him. You found that Trump knew he had lost the election. How? Well, his own Attorney General, William Barr, repeatedly told him so and described all of Trump's theories as BS.
Usually
Trump's top campaign advisors told him he lost the election. Vice President Pence told him he lost the election. More than 60 federal, state, and court decisions, including 8 rendered by judges he appointed to the bench, rejected every outlandish election fraud and corruption claim that he made. Trump himself even privately acknowledged it, gesturing to Joe Biden on TV and saying, quote, "Can you believe I lost to that effing guy?" He knew he lost, but he threw everything into his big lie, which some people
saying rent-free when the Republicans wanted to do this hearing with Jack Smith is crazy. MAGA, lock in. Come on.
People, even in this room to this day, will stand by and swear by. Well, when the big lie wasn't enough to convince officials like Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a Republican, to commit election fraud and just fine Trump 11,780 votes,
you seen
it wasn't enough to convince Trump's DOJ to, quote, just call the election corrupt and leave the rest to me and the House Republicans, when it wasn't enough to force Vice President Mike Pence to announce and then exercise lawless powers to reject electoral college votes and use counterfeit slates to anoint Trump the winner.
Are going crazy, man.
Incited mass violence on January 6th, while more than 140 officers were being brutally assaulted by Trump's mob, while rioters beat them with flagpoles and sprayed them with chemical agents and crushed them in doorways, and while they chanted, "Hang Mike Pence," and chased the vice president out of the Capitol, Trump and his team worked the phones, calling not the National Guard, which was under the direct unilateral control of Donald Trump, but calling members of Congress, urging them to delay certification and to nullify the election results.
And so I just, for some reason, MAGA just doesn't care. Well, all this crazy stuff was going on where the cops, you know, the people that they defend so rigorously, all of this thing's going on where Congressman is in trouble, getting threatened. While Mike Pence, they're threatening to kill this man. Donald Trump is like, I want you to reverse the, or at the very least, stop the certification of the vote. Donald Trump did not give a fuck. He didn't care. But, you know, when you're MAGA, you pick and choose when you care about the rule of law, law enforcement, congressmen. Their lives only mean something when they're defending you. I get it. I understand.
Special Counsel Smith, you pursued the facts. You followed every applicable law, ethics rule, and DOJ regulation. Your decisions were reviewed by the Public Integrity Section. You acted based solely on the facts, the opposite of Donald Trump, who now has purported to take over the Department of Justice. He's in charge of the whole thing under his unitary executive theory, and he acts openly, purely based on political vendetta and motives of personal revenge, and he doesn't deny it. Our colleagues have complained about the special counsel's review of toll records, which are phone records like a phone bill, showing only the timing and duration of calls and containing no content, no substance whatsoever from the calls. But those records were lawfully subpoenaed because Donald Trump made those members of Congress relevant to the investigation. It was Trump who chose to call them to advance his criminal scheme. As you testified, Mr. Smith, if Donald Trump had chosen to call a number of Democratic senators, we would have gotten toll records for them too. I trust our colleagues get the point because America certainly gets the point. There's much Mr. Smith still can't talk about, though we know he badly wants to. His investigation developed.
I'm not going to search that up, Dale.
Evidence
I'm not going
that
to
Trump
search
stole
up Trump
documents
evil
containing
file.
our country's most sensitive secrets,
What?
hoarded them in the ballrooms and the bathrooms of his well-trafficked Mar-a-Lago social club. He showed them off to visitors. And then he obstructed a federal investigation by instructing his attorney to pluck out anything really bad before turning materials over to the FBI.
This guy completely, he brought receipts. He brought images, completely debunked the idea that he raided his home. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, keep on cooking, my boy.
And having his staff delete incriminating security tape footage. But today we're
MAGA
not going to
is
hear a
not
lot
American
about that
first.
because you are gagged
joke
by
by
an
a
absurd
comedian?
judicial order
Okay, fair
rendered
enough.
faithfully by Trump's
But
most
that does
servile
sound like
and
crazy to put in
sycophantic
my
appointee
football.
to the federal bench, Judge Eileen Cannon. This order not only blocks release of Volume 2 of your report, which is unprecedented, about the classified document scam, it also gags you from discussing the report or its contents with us, with America. And so we don't know what's in it, but it must be pretty devastating because Donald Trump is desperate to keep Mr. Smith or any other DOJ official for all time from ever releasing it to Congress and to the American people. Now, Mr. Smith, if any of our colleagues foolishly choose to attack you and vilify you today, and I know that's not going to happen from some serious prosecutors over there, like Mr. Knott and Mr. Schmidt, who understand what federal prosecutors do and what the rule of law means. But if anybody decides to attack you personally,
When they asked Biden to bring it back, he gave it willingly. So the Biden comparison has been debunked like a million times.
they will only be revealing their own ignorance of what prosecutors do and their own indifference to what the rule of law requires in America. They will only be stroking the wounded ego of a lawless, twice impeached, convicted felon president who not only unleashed a mob against Congress and his own vice president, but is now pardoned and released into our communities hundreds of extremists, insurrectionists, and cop-beating felons who have proceeded to commit dozens more crimes against the American people.
He's absolutely correct. There's so many people that Donald Trump pardoned from Jan 6 that were shitty people, criminals. And you know what happens when you release criminals out into the real world? They do more crime. Oh my God. Who would have thought? They've done more crime. Infamous example. Maggot gets pardoned. You know what he does? He SAs his girlfriend's young son. And he tried to bribe her son, saying, don't tell anybody. Donald Trump is going to give me a stimulus, so I'll give you some of that money if you keep it silent. That's the type of people that root for Trump. That's the type of people that the maggots think that are American heroes. Those are the type of people that the maggots wanted out into the real world. Disgusting pieces of garbage who SA'd a young boy. You know? But par for court, we know who the party of PDFs are. We know what that is.
Since they were pardoned. Mr. Smith, I understand you are a long-distance marathon runner. I read that you're a triathlete who's done more than 100 triathlons and 9 Ironman competitions. You are in the fight for justice and the rule of law for the long distance, for the long haul, and I thank you for that. And we should all try to follow your example. America looks forward to your testimony today. I yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman yields back without objection. All of the opening statements will be included in the record. We will now introduce today's witness. Mr. Jack Smith was appointed as special counsel on November 18th, 2022. He served until January 7th, 2025. We welcome our witness today. We'll begin by swearing you in. Would you please rise and raise-
I guess revealing news about a maggot Jan 6 insurrectionist essaying a little boy is fear mongering. All right, Baze. I'm not surprised. MAGA doesn't care about kids at all. They don't care. They don't give a fuck.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, so help you God?
I do.
Let the record reflect that the witness has answered in the affirmative. Thank you. You can be seated. Please know that your written testimony will be entered into the record in its entirety. Accordingly, we ask that you summarize your testimony. Mr. Smith, you may begin.
Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, members of the committee.
Democrats and their support need to be. That's funny. When Charlie Kirk literally said that Republicans are less educated than Democrats, but you know, your golden goose, he said that. You know, when you're in a cult, you can't see past what the cult master is saying right in front of you. Y'all vision is like this, more like this. I only see Trump and his dick. That's all I see. Trump, 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 Trump. Get some perspective.
Thank you for the opportunity to discuss my
He
work.
did
in
say
special
that. He
counsel.
said that on Gavin Newsom's podcast.
I love
You're
my
an idiot.
country
You don't know what
and
you're talking
believe
about.
deeply in the core principles upon which it was founded. For nearly 3 decades, I've served as a career prosecutor in both Republican and Democratic administrations. Cases ranging from domestic.
Oh, Michael, you're naming cities. Let's be very clear. Rural areas, which are Republican areas, are extremely violent and have terrible living conditions. So I know it's easy to compare it to a city, but these rural areas are terrible and they're Republican. Republican states are more violent and have more crime than Democratic states. I just want us to be on the same page. You know what? Let me relax. I'm trying to help you guys figure out where you guys are going wrong. You guys are misguided. You guys are not very well educated. And you think Trump is going to be the answer. He's not. But eventually, we'll steer things in the right direction.
Assault and gang violence, to public corruption and election crimes across the United States, and I've prosecuted war crimes overseas. I am not a politician, and I have no partisan loyalties. My career has been dedicated to serving our country by upholding the rule of law. Throughout my public service, my approach has always been the same: follow the facts and the law without fear or favor.
Austin, I didn't call the political party a cult. I called MAGA a cult. MAGA is a cult. Republican Party is not a cult. I respect Republicans. MAGA is not Republicans. So I just need that distinction right there. MAGA is something else entirely.
Experienced prosecutors know that specific case outcomes are beyond our control. Our
I
responsibility
need
is
you guys
to
to
do
get
the
off
right thing
Facebook and Twitter.
the
Jesus
right
Christ.
way for the right reasons. These principles have guided me through my career, including as special counsel. I'm proud of the work my team did, and I appreciate the opportunity to appear here today to correct false and misleading narratives about our work. During my tenure as special counsel, we followed Justice Department policies, we observed legal requirements, and took action.
Stingray, we know why they're not in Texas and Florida. We know exactly where ICE and the National Guard get sent into. We know why. Come on.
Actions based on the facts and the law. I made my decisions without regard to President Trump's political association, activities, beliefs, or candidacy in the 2024 election. President Trump was charged
Not a
because the
socialist,
evidence
you
established
idiot.
that he willfully
Fucking-
broke the law, the very laws
At least
he took an oath
substantiate your
to
claim.
uphold. Grand juries in 2 separate districts reached this conclusion based on his actions, as alleged in the indictments they returned. Rather than accept his defeat in the 2020 election, President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results and prevent the lawful transfer of power.
Not a leftist either,
After leaving
Michael.
office in
You're kind
January
of
of 21,
obsessed.
President Trump illegally kept
Nobody's talking
classified
about
documents at his Mar-a-Lago social club and repeatedly tried
Ron
to
Lemon's
obstruct justice
2028.
and conceal his continued retention of those documents. Highly sensitive national security information was held in a ballroom and a bathroom.
Patty, you're cooking.
As I testify before the committee today, I want to be clear. I stand by my decisions as special counsel, including the decision to bring charges against President Trump. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican. No one should be above the law in this country, and the law required that he be held to account, so that is what I did. To have done otherwise on the facts of these cases would have been to shirk my duties as a prosecutor and as a public servant, of which I had no intention of doing. I remain grateful for the counsel, judgment, and advice of my team. President Trump has sought to seek revenge against career prosecutors, FBI agents, and support staff simply for having worked on these cases. To vilify and seek retribution against these people is wrong. Those dedicated public servants are the best of us, and it has been a privilege to serve with them. After nearly 30 years of public service, including in international settings, I have seen how the rule of law can erode. My fear is that we have seen the rule of law function in our country for so long that many of us have come to take it for granted. The rule of law is not self-executing. It depends on our collective commitment to apply it. It requires dedicated service on behalf of others, especially when that service is difficult and comes with costs. Our willingness to pay those costs is what tests and defines our commitment to the rule of law and to this wonderful country. Thank you.
Gentlemen, we will now proceed under the 5-minute rule. We have votes coming in any minute now, but I think we'll have time for 3 or 4 members to get their 5-minute question in before the committee will take a recess to go vote. They are not going to close the vote until we get there. I know that much. So we will start with the gentleman from California, recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. When Attorney General Garland appointed you, he cited the particularly sensitive matters at issue and extraordinary circumstances as the reason for appointing a special counsel. What did you take that to mean?
All right, we're finally getting into interesting stuff because all those opening statements was like blah 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 blah. So I was like kind of in, but a lot of it was MAGA saying some bullshit they usually say, Democrats providing evidence because that's the typical thing, and then Jack Smith saying, "I'll do it again." I think they could have cut that in half and would have been fine. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Jim Jordan is a bot, bro. Is an absolute bot. Democrats are such victims base. Facts. Cool. Facts. You're cooking. Leftists claiming MAGA are unhinged is amazing. Where's the leftists you guys are talking about? I hate leftists. I don't know who you're talking about, but it's not me. I hate leftists. Yeah, red states are like have more crime. It's not even a question. It's just factually correct. You could just look it up. It's not hard. There's Google. Get off of Facebook and Twitter and start Googling things. You guys are do better. I'm worried for your kids. Your processing is very flawed. I'm not gonna lie. He was burned big time. We'll see. I don't believe anything MAGA says because you guys are cuckoo. So we'll see.
Is the reason for appointing a special counsel. What did you take that? Particularly sensitive matters at issue and extraordinary circumstances is the reason General Garland appointed you. He cited the particularly sensitive matters at issue and extraordinary circumstances is the reason for appointing a special counsel. What did you take that to mean?
What I understood that to mean is I was to conduct an independent investigation and come to my own conclusions about whether the facts and the law supported a prosecution.
But clearly he was alluding to the fact that we had an investigation into a leading candidate for president. That was part of the extraordinary circumstances. Would you agree?
I will rely on his public statements about that. I understood my role as special counsel was governed on his public statements.
What did he say?
It reported a prosecution.
But clearly he was alluding to the fact that we had an investigation into a leading candidate for president. That was part of the extraordinary circumstances. Would you agree?
I will rely on his public statements about that. I understood my role as special counsel was governed by the regulations, which required me to make an independent decision on my own.
So certainly you would agree it was important to approach the investigation with humility and restraint. Is that fair?
Yes, and that's what I sought to do. I sought to.
And you thought you possessed those qualities. In fact, you testified at your deposition, quote, "I thought I was the right person for the job." Of course, some disagreed. Constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, for example, has said, quote, "Jack Smith has a reputation for stretching criminal statutes beyond the breaking point." I assume you disagree with that statement by Professor Turley.
I do disagree with that statement. I think my career speaks for itself. I have been.
But that statement was also, and I'm sorry to have to interrupt, I just have a short amount of time. That statement was also echoed by the United States Supreme Court in a unanimous opinion in McDonald versus the United States, where the court overturned convictions that you had pursued against a former governor, criticizing your boundless interpretation of the federal criminal statute at issue. That opinion was joined by Justices Ginsburg, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan. So do you also disagree with that statute at issue? That opinion of the former governor, criticizing your boundless interpretation of the federal criminal statute at issue. That opinion was joined by Justices Ginsburg, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan. So do you?
So just because he went after a governor, and I don't know the specific situation, that is cause for him to be unqualified for his job? You know, lawyers and attorneys and investigators don't shoot 100%, right? Just because there's a disagreement by the judge or the jury doesn't mean that in and itself his qualifications are moot. So yeah, I don't know what we're trying to do there. Yeah, that's not effective. I know these are like, I heard this before. When it comes down to these hearings, nowadays it's just like, I'm trying to get you, I'm trying to gotcha, and I really don't like them because there doesn't really give the opportunity for the person who is being grilled to explain themselves. They keep on going, oh, I have a short amount of time. I have a short amount of time. Then we're not going to learn what the fuck is going on if all you do is just yap and just throw out accusations. Like there's just no substance there at that point. So I don't know what we're doing.
You also disagree with that statement by those justices?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Leftists are traditionally very populist. MAGA is populist. I don't think people realize that MAGA and shares more similarities with leftists than liberals do with leftists. There's a reason why Cenk Uygur wants to team up with MAGA, because he realized that they're unhinged enough to overthrow the entire government for like stupid reasons. So I don't know what we're doing here.
Breyer, Sotomayor, and Kagan. So do you also disagree with that statement by those justices?
I have conducted my career in a nonpartisan fashion. That particular case, the legal position that the department took, that wasn't my personal position. That was the position of the department.
I see. So, Mr. Smith, I've had the opportunity during my time on this committee to review the work of two special counsels, John Durham, appointed during the Trump administration, and Robert Hur during the Biden administration. And in both cases, they seem to exhibit that humility and restraint that we talked about. But in reviewing in detail the way you conducted this investigation, I see a very different mode of operation. One that sought maximum litigation advantage at every turn, one that repeatedly circumvented constitutional limitations to the point that you had to be reined in again and again throughout the process. For example, shortly after you became special counsel, you issued a subpoena for the phone records of the Speaker of the House of Representatives over a 2-month period, along with for other senators and representatives, even though the public integrity section at DOJ cited litigation risk to doing this. What was that litigation risk?
With respect to the toll record subpoenas that we issued, they were approved by the public integrity section. The public integrity section, in approving those subpoenas, noted the fact that the subpoenas were for records for people who were not targets of our investigation.
But they said there was a litigation risk and you moved forward with it anyway. And not only that, but you also
of our investigation.
But they said there was a litigation risk and you moved forward with it anyway.
Well, if he said that the litigation got approved just because there was a risk going into it, that's irrelevant. Again, he tried to recapture the moment with the statement of affirmation of the claim that he's trying to make to kind of paint a very clear picture. And it works because like MAGA is going to go like, oh, he said this after, so that means he's right. You know, there's really no complex thinking beyond 1 + 1 = 2. But yeah, I mean, this is just sneaky tactics.
And not only that, but you also sought orders from judges, making it so those who were having their records seized would not know about it. And you even didn't tell those judges that it was members of Congress whose records you were going after in apparent contravention of a federal statute.
Okay, so this might be a very interesting claim that I want an answer for.
Records seized. Also sought orders from judges, making it so those who anyway. And not only that, but you also sought orders from judges, making it so those who were having their records seized would not know about it. And you even
orders from judges, so the records that they're getting seized will not know about it. Okay.
even didn't tell those judges that it was members of Congress whose records you were going after in apparent contravention of a federal statute saying that a telephone provider for a Senate office shall not be barred from providing notice that the records have been requested. Now, if you sought to do that today, would you be able to get away with that, with asking the judges for a non-disclosure order without telling them these are members of Congress?
When we secured these toll record subpoenas, it was done consistent with department policy. You're correct in that that policy has since changed.
They changed the policy based upon the actions that you took. Similarly, you issued a gag order against
So again, he didn't let him respond. So again, this is one of my issues with the hearing. He was about to respond to what he said, and then he just cut him off to go to a next point. If you want to know why he did what he did, then you got to let him say it. You got to let him talk, right? Based off my understanding, the very 2 seconds of him talking, he said that this was within prior policy. So if something is within prior policy, just because the policy has changed, doesn't mean that he was not following the law as it seemed fit in that current situation. So it's not like he was breaking any procedures, because he even admitted it got changed, but doesn't mean that he was breaking anything. Now, I wanted to hear like the full explanation on what this policy is and why he went at it this way, but this guy cut him off. So we're not going to hear it. He said one sentence and he's filibustering. Okay, all right. Let's count how many times he was talking before this dude cut him off. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. He's filibustering.
Toll record subpoenas. It was done consistent with department policy. Secured these toll records. When we secured these toll record subpoenas, it was done consistent with department policy. You're correct in that that policy has since changed.
They changed the policy based.
That's all he said, and he's filibustering. That is literally all he said. He's filibustering. Why would we let him waste time? He said like 12 words. Y'all are trolling me. Y'all got it. Y'all trolling me. Y'all got it. You're funny people. Y'all big trolls. What is my political identity? My political identity is my own, purple, independent. I don't want to call myself centrist because I think there's a lot of fake centrists out there. I just believe in certain things in consistency with my moral values. There are certain things I agree with, like conservative principles, and there's certain things I agree with liberal principles. I've disagreed a lot with like people on the left, and I obviously hate MAGA because they're just not any party. They're just crazy people. But like normal Republicans, like back in my day, even though I'm not that old, I would agree with a lot of like Republican things. Obviously, I'm from military. I agree with like having a strong military. I'm pro cop for the most part. I do think we can probably change certain things. The left doesn't have moral values. Well, I'm not left, I'm me, so suck it. You don't know between Democrat, you're a fascist to leftist like me. You're a fascist to leftist like me. Well, I'm me. You want to call me a fascist? I don't give a fuck. So I don't really care. But I will go after fascists because I actually have principles. So and Donald Trump is a fascist. It's unfortunate the centrist term got taken away by like idiots like Tim Pool, who's a fake centrist. So yeah.
Based upon the actions that you took. Similarly, you issued a gag order against President Trump that the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals vacated as overbroad. Is that correct? Court of Appeals vacated as overbroad. Is that correct?
So are the Democrats. Based facts. Democrats are all fascists. Republicans are all fascists. Everybody's a fascist. You're cooking. You're a genius.
Well, the D.C. Court of Appeals, in passing on that order, found that it was justified. They narrowed the order bills.
Gag order against President Trump that the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals vacated as overbroad. Is that correct?
Well, the D.C. Court of Appeals, in passing on that order, found that it was justified. They narrowed the order, but they confirmed that the phenomenon.
They narrowed the order because it was overbroad. In addition to that, you sought an early trial.
Again, he stopped him from answering the fucking question. What is the point of a hearing if you can't answer the goddamn question? He was about to explain. They confirmed it. It was narrow, but they confirmed it. Okay, I wanted to know what was narrow about it and what parts they confirmed. And this motherfucker says, nope, you're not allowed to answer. Next question. What are we doing here? And then all the MAGA are going to go like, oh, he interrupted him. Let's go. No answer for you. He's cooking. Because they're a bunch of idiots. Like, I just don't know what to do over here, bro. So why aren't you on the left? I'm center. I'm me. Fuck, I don't give a fuck about left and right labels.
Date that the district court rejected. And when you presented your prosecution memo to Attorney General Garland, it's been reported that he was visibly unimpressed and expressed First Amendment concerns. So, Mr. Smith.
Certain things I will say that I really respect, even though I disagree with a lot of like policies from like far left people. I respect how humanitarian a lot of their ideals seem to come from. But I hope you study Marxism sometime soon before you keep focusing on U.S. procedure. I'm never going to be a socialist. That's not happening. I'm not going to be a socialist. There are certain policies that probably align socialism. Like our federal standard can't be socialism. Our economy can't be socialism. But some people made the argument that certain policies were embedded with like socialist principles. Like, for example, parental leave. Some people argue that parental leave and Social Security were embedded with like socialist ideas. And I'm like, okay, fine, fair enough. Some people disagree, some people agree. I don't really give a fuck which one you're at right there. But the idea is obviously trying to help the worker. The idea of the workers owning the means of productions is a flawed idea, flawed system. It doesn't work. But having policies that focus on the worker and giving them more power and influence on what's going on, I think there's some fair aspects to that. And I'm willing to listen to see if it can be implemented at certain stages. That's why I'm curious to see what Mamdani could do in New York, because Mamdani is introducing certain policies that I'm like, probably not going to work. But if it does work and doesn't completely crash the New York City economy, then I am listening at the very least. Right, we're gonna see how with the grocery store stuff for the state-owned grocery stores and free bus fare and regarding rent control. We'll see how all of that works. I doubt some of them are going to work, but if he can work within the system to create a policy that helps the average citizen, average American, that's a W. I'm here for it. You sound like a socialist. I sound like me. I don't give a fuck about all these labels. I don't care. I'm just not interested. I just want things that are practical that help people. I don't care about all these labels. There's certain things I agree with and certain things I disagree with. It's just waste of time for you to fit in a tiny little box to make everybody feel better. I don't give a fuck. I'm not fitting in that box. And then there's certain overarching principles that on the grand stage will not work because there's evil actors that will make sure to take advantage of that. So you have to ensure you have proper checks in different ways. The way it would fail is by letting billionaires dictate the rules. I mean, I hate billionaires. I think the biggest problem in America is the wealth inequality gap and the increasing wealth and influence and control of the 1%. I despise that. I hate it with the passion. I think we should focus on that more, but now we got to figure out how to deal with MAGA and Donald Trump being an authoritarian fascist right now. It's ridiculous. When new housing use also not a bad idea on paper. Yeah, I think there's like on paper things with Mamdani that I'm like, I'm curious, can you implement that in a way that's good? He's talked about how he would work with like other organizations to ensure that the increased amount of homes and the rent controls or rent freezes that he plans to do not affect like landlords, like in a drastic way. They're probably going to try to ensure that it affects probably like the insurance companies in particular. Those are the big focus of Mamdani. So we'll see how that plays out. It's not only Trump, it's all of them. Well, like all of MAGA sucks, but there's some Republicans that are pretty solid. I don't know where they are. They're fucking hiding in a ditch or somewhere, but whatever. Wow, my portfolio has never been better. Then you must have loved when the what was it? The stock market plummeted by like a lot. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how much. You must have loved that and went, fuck it. And then Donald Trump says, okay, we won't go after Greenland. Duh. I'm sure you love that. Sure, you love that. You also suck the dicks of illegal immigrants. If they're no, I don't like dicks. Might eat some minge of an illegal immigrant. There's some very attractive illegal immigrants out there. We know that's true. Come on, lock in. Why do conservatives don't exist anymore? Well, Counterpoint is a moderate conservative. Well, I think he's a moderate conservative. I think you can call him that. I like Connor. I've talked to him like twice. He's a solid. But Somalians and fraud is great. Facts. I definitely said that. You cooked me. You're a genius. W. Thumbs up. Just look at it now. Yeah, because his billionaire friends were like, Donald Trump, stop fucking around. Don't go after Greenland anymore. You're ruining our stocks. That's what he had to do. Come on. Okay, that's a better say. Moderate conservatives are like unicorns. I agree to that. Like, I'm trying to think of other ones that I know other than Connor. I think Tom. I don't. Does Tom consider him moderate conservative? I think he said he used to lean right, from my understanding. I think Tom's like a moderate conservative. Any others that I know on the platform? Not many. Not many. Not a lot. Not many. You're saying Nev saved us from Hitler? Based. So it was a partner in crime with Nazi. Okay, very based. Oh, damn. USA is as evil as Nazi Germany. You're okay. All right, cool. That's not where I'm at. Fuck. That's not where I'm at. Yeah, I'm good on that one. Because a lot like in Congress, a lot of the moderate Republicans are fucking, their careers would be cooked if they went against Trump. So they're absolute cowards. There is that one. So there was a guy who was in the military. I think I did a video about it where he went to talk to Midas Touch. Was it Midas Touch? No. Was it David Pacman? And he's a moderate Republican. They're far in between. I agree with you, Patty. They're not a lot. Even worse, they eat babies for fun. What the fuck are you talking about, Antonio? What? Republicans have men in their party. Democrats have boys. Republicans have men that like boys. Does that work? And I'll be honest, there's no way you're saying Gavin Newsom's not a man. Gavin Newsom is a man. Come on now. Let's be honest. Gavin Newsom is a man. So much so he cheated on his wife. So, like, come on. Let's be honest here. Gavin Newsom got it. He's a man.
Looking at the record, I see that you were reversed and rebuked by the Department of Justice itself, by the Attorney General, by the Solicitor General, by multiple districts, and rebuked by the express First Amendment prosecution memo to Attorney General Garland. It's been an early.
But they confirmed that the
They
phenomenon.
narrowed the order because it was overbroad. In addition to that, you sought an early trial date that the district court rejected. And when you presented your prosecution memo to Attorney General Garland, it's been reported that he was visibly unimpressed and expressed First Amendment concerns. So, Mr. Smith, looking at the record, I see that you were reversed and rebuked by the Department of Justice itself, by the Attorney General, by the Solicitor General, by multiple district court justices, judges, by the Court of Appeals, and by the U.S. Supreme Court itself. So my final question is, do you believe that you made any...
This guy just threw out accusations and just threw a lot of things that really had no substance behind it. And anytime he was about to qualify and add context on like what is going on, because every claim he made, he said, okay, people had concerns, but it got confirmed. It doesn't matter, it got confirmed. Let's go to the next one. This guy had concerns here, but we did it within procedure, but it got changed. So, whatever. This guy didn't say anything of substance. He just threw a bunch of things out there and then didn't let him talk. This is pathetic. Like, what are we doing here? Newsom didn't know you need water, put out fire. Smart choice, guys. Base facts. Newsom didn't know shit. You're cooking. You're a smart guy.
mistakes? Do you have any regrets as to how you conducted this investigation?
If I have any regret, it would be not expressing enough appreciation for my staff who work so hard in these investigations. We followed the facts and the law. These people who work for me sacrificed endlessly and have endured way too much for just doing their job. So if anything, I wish that I had thanked them.
I'm the gentleman.
No mistakes. There's that humility. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
Yeah, I'm the gentleman.
That was a pathetic grilling, bro. There is nothing of substance said there, and you cut them off every single time. This is why I don't really like hearings. We're not learning anything. It's just to I gotta make myself feel better. Like, fuck, what are we doing here?
Right, the chair now recognizes the ranking member for 5
Well,
minutes.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the good gentleman from California certainly knows.
Jesus warned about false. It is interesting anytime when it comes down to it. There's like MAGA is supposed to be the party of Christians, and they literally implore this guy like a god. The amount of people in my chat that goes like Donald Trump is God, and there's that one person who literally called him the savior. It's like, what are we doing? I'm not even Christian, and isn't this against one of the 10 commandments? Like, what are we doing? Anointing this guy as God is crazy. Why are you not showing Republicans question? I just showed a Republican. Are you stupid? Nah, she's a troll. This is a troll account. This account is from Nigeria. This is a Nigerian. I see you. I see you, Nigerian or Iran or Chinese or Russian. You won't get me. Your trolling won't affect me because nobody's that stupid. So yeah, that's a troll account. Good shit. Even I think you use a woman in your profile picture. Very clever. Very clever. But you won't get me. Or I mean, very dumb, but I think it's just a troll. Nobody's that dumb.
A student of mine that lawyers go to court and sometimes they win motions and sometimes they lose motions, and there's no crime in any of that. And I'm just sorry that you had to be lectured about.
Exactly. That's why I said he made no substantive argument. He made no point. Yes, when you do a job like this, you win and lose. People have issues, and they like nothing you said. He did nothing wrong. You couldn't make a single claim about anything he did wrong. You just had like people may have issues here and there in certain things he's done, but you couldn't prove anything he done wrong. And anytime he was about to contextually like elaborate on the procedure, you cut him off. That's pathetic. That was pathetic.
Humility and restraint by a politician, because we might not be best poised to lecture you on those particular virtues. But
the troll accounts are absolutely all Mr. Smith. They know what they're doing. They're trying to destroy America.
Congress has allowed toll records to be subpoenaed. This committee has actually tried to limit it over the years, and the senators who are whining the most over on the Republican side in the Senate, they never went along with our determination to try to limit the government's ability to subpoena toll records. So it's perfectly lawful what you did. Explain, why did you want those toll records?
We wanted to conduct a thorough investigation
for them in the back.
The matters that was assigned to me, including attempts to interfere with the lawful transfer of power. The conspiracy that we were investigating, it was relevant to get toll records to understand the scope of that conspiracy, who they were.
That's a crazy thing to say. Jack Smith got murdered today is an insane thing to say. Which country are you from? Russia? That sounds like a Russian thing to say.
Interfere with
toll records. So it's perfectly lawful what you did. Explain, why did you want those toll records?
We wanted to conduct a thorough investigation of the matters that was assigned to me.
Milk supporters are busy at work to set up a troll. Milk, it literally got debunked on Twitter that some of the biggest Twitter accounts are from other countries. Lock in, my boy. Do better. I believe in you. Maybe, kind of. I don't know.
Me, including attempts to interfere with the lawful transfer of power. The conspiracy that we were investigating, it was relevant to get toll records to understand the scope of that conspiracy, who they were seeking to coerce, who they were seeking to influence, who was seeking to help them.
And that's normal investigative practice, right?
In conducting a criminal investigation, securing non-content toll records, as you described, is a common practice in almost any complex conspiracy.
Okay, let's go to something else that I've been hearing over the last week by our colleagues as they've eagerly anticipated your arrival here. They've been.
So if you didn't understand, that questioning completely debunks the entire thing that the other guy did, in the sense that he was trying to come at his procedure, but everything he's done was within practice. And he said multiple times that this was in standard. Even if the standard was changed, everything was within procedure. You can complain about the procedure and the standards, but he didn't break any policy and he didn't break any laws. So that was completely debunked.
In saying that there's some kind of First Amendment defense that Donald Trump would have had to the crimes you indicted him for. Is there a valid First Amendment defense to defrauding the public? Is there a valid First Amendment defense to disrupting a federal proceeding? Is there a valid First Amendment defense to violating the voting rights of the people and cheating the public out of a fair election?
The First Amendment is something we took seriously in our investigation, but the First Amendment does not protect speech that facilitates a crime. Speech that is used to facilitate a crime, a fraud crime in particular, is not protected under the First Amendment. The Supreme Court precedent on that is clear. This is an issue that we litigated before the district court, and the district court ruled, as I just stated, that it is not in fact protected.
And the case law is perfectly clear on this, right? All frauds are perpetrated by speech, right?
Yes.
All conspiracies are perpetrated by speech. So just because your criminal conduct is brigaded with speech doesn't somehow mean you've got a First Amendment defense against trying to overthrow the government. I mean, the people who attacked the police officers on January 6th were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." I suppose that was political speech, or they were saying, "Stop the steal." Does that mean they've got a First Amendment defense to violent assault against the officers?
It does not.
William Barr, by the way, was somebody who was perfectly clear about that.
So I guess he was using that line of questioning regarding whether or not certain things were said on. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that question. I understand it's to show the duality of what is actual attacks on free speech, because one of the things that are being used against Jack Smith is that he's going against free speech in regards to what MAGA has been doing, and then the kind of pretend version of free speech that MAGA thinks anything I can say is First Amendment, whatever. Even though we're threatening congressmen, we're trying to affect the election, all that stuff. So I guess it's a good PR win.
Donald Trump's own attorney general said there's no freedom of speech that you have to engage in a conspiracy to overthrow an election, to commit crime. He was perfectly clear about that.
You must get your news from Joe Rogan. A lot of MAGA do. I did a recent podcast episode. It dropped Tuesday. I got some clips coming out. Dropped one already. And the guy I was talking to, I was like, "Where did you get your information about Bill and Hillary Clinton?" He literally said a reputable source, and then he said Joe Rogan. So one of the top sources of MAGA information is just listening to Joe Rogan. Very based.
Back in those days, in fact, lots of people on that side of the aisle, including my good friend, the chairman, denounced the violence that took place on January 6th. The cat's got their tongue these days. My friend Chairman Jordan said, "What happened last week was terrible, it was tragic. It's as wrong can be," he said. Chairman Jordan said,
"Oh, did he bring receipts for Republican congressmen? Hold up. We might actually have a clip of something to talk about. You know what I'm saying?"
What happened back in the election? He was perfectly clear.
I might cut certain segments and make this into a video. So we'll cut this Raskin segment. He's asking actually pretty good questions. I'm not gonna lie. Let's say we start this link. 50. I say we 105 Raskin. All right, let me hear your receipts, my boy.
About that. First Amendment defense, I suppose that was political speech, or they were saying stop the steal. Does that mean they've got a First Amendment defense to violent assault against the officers?
It does not.
William Barr, by the way.
Antifa's at Gen 6 as well. Fuck Antifa. I don't give a fuck. Megan thing at Alex Jones is news. Yeah, Alex Jones is 100% not news.
It was somebody who was perfectly clear about that. Donald Trump's own attorney general said there's no freedom of speech that you have to engage in a conspiracy to overthrow an election, to commit crime. He was perfectly clear about that. Back in those days, in fact, lots of people on that side of the aisle, including my good friend, the chairman, denounced the violence that took place on January 6th. The cat's got their tongue these days. My friend Chairman Jordan said, "What happened last week was terrible, it was tragic. It's as wrong can be," he said.
The chairman, he said as wrong could be. Now he's like gulping that Trump dick. Oh my God. Jordan.
Republicans, we know all political violence is wrong. I asked my friend Chairman Jordan at a rules hearing, "Are you also not interested in what happened to us on January 6th? He said, "Of course, everyone's interested in holding people accountable who did wrong. The FBI is doing that. The Justice Department is doing that. appropriately so. What do you think about the attack on the Department of Justice and the special counsel for doing your jobs?
Wow, he brought the receipts for Jordan. He brought the receipts for Jordan. You know, it's how it's so funny how many receipts there are of like, this is what I thought before MAGA took over my entire party. Then I became a little cuck and I sat in the corner while he frailed my wife. That's why JD Vance went from Trump is Hitler to bang me harder. That's what Ben Shapiro was like. Trump is a terrible human being. And he's like, please save my country, little cuck. And then that's why you got people like Asmongold realizing, oh man, I have normal takes. Oh, MAGA makes me money. Yes, MAGA. It's crazy. All these people were like normal human beings at one point. And then they realized that Donald Trump is their daddy, and they became little cucks in the corner.
I think the attack is unjustified. I think the people who worked with me as career public servants are people, they're part of the reason I've been a prosecutor for so long, is to work with people like that, not just the prosecutors in my office, but also the agents, FBI agents who are heroes, who have served their country not only as agents, but also overseas. I think those attacks are unwarranted based on the facts, and I think that they have no basis in who we are as Americans, as a country. I don't see attacking people like that as anything appropriate.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back to you.
The gentleman yields back. Mr. Smith, is Cassidy Hutchinson a liar? She was their star witness, January 6th committee, their star witness in one of those staged and choreographed hearings they paid the former president of ABC News to put together. She was, in fact, the only witness at this special primetime hearing, Tuesday, June 28th, 2022, 8 o'clock.
I'm going to guess what's about to happen here. He's going to ask Jack Smith a question. Jack Smith is going to give an answer after he says, let me count, 10 words. After he says 10 words, he's going to cut him off. Let's see if I'm correct. 10 words. Let's do this.
In the evening, and she told some stories. I mean, these were some stories. She talked about President lunged across the back seat, grabbed the steering wheel, tried to drive the car to the Capitol. And I just want to know, you think she was lying?
Chairman Jordan, my assessment of that particular issue is that with respect to the testimony.
Okay, he got over 10 words. He got over 10 words. Okay, let's go.
About someone the president lunging towards the driver. My recollection of her testimony about that is that it was secondhand. She said she heard that from somebody.
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
So, did Jim Jordan? I hate Mac so much. So he did this all parading. He was like, "Oh, I got him with this one. You think she's a liar? She said he did this." She did say that. She said she heard someone tell her he did that. Did not acknowledge it, just moved on. He answered your question, moved on, and he thought he did something. He was feeling himself. He had his chest pointed out. He got the glasses. He was licking his tongue. Oh, licking the lips. He thought he did something. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. You feel yourself a little too much, dog. You didn't do jack shit. Pun intended. Like, what are we doing? You're going to address the fact that he answered your question? Okay, base. Cool.
I'm sorry.
You familiar with the name Tony Ornato?
Yes.
White House Deputy Chief of Operations, Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, right? You remember what he said about it?
As I sit here right now, I do not.
Yeah, he said it didn't happen. How about Bobby Engel? You familiar with that name?
So, one person said she heard someone tell her that, and then one person said it didn't happen. What are we doing with this? What are we doing with this? Come on.
Yes, I am.
Secret Service agent who was actually in the car that day. You know what he said? He said it didn't happen. And they both said the first time they ever heard this story was when Ms. Hutchinson testified in the primetime hearing as their star witness of the January 6th committee.
Okay.
By the way, did you ever confirm her testimony about this particular incident?
We conducted, as I said before, our own independent investigation of all aspects of the case that we thought was relevant. We, attorneys from my office.
Did you ever confirm it? That's a simple question.
We interviewed, or I should say, attorneys in my office.
Did you ever confirm the president leaping across the seat, grabbing the steering wheel, this whole concoction she brought up in the January?
Oh, is he not allowed to answer the question? Does he have to give you a yes or no? Do you need this clip that badly?
6 hearing. Did you ever confirm that?
Right. We interviewed another firsthand witness who was in the car who did not confirm that had happened, but also
your deposition to the committee last month.
Oh, okay. He got his clip. Oh, I got my clip. Let's go. He said did not. No context. Fuck context. Crazy. Crazy. I hate these hearings so much. I think it's a quite. I will say this: can you trust like what the Secret Service say for Trump? I mean, Trump tells his people to lie all the time, so I'll be honest, I don't really trust it. But regardless, I think it's a fantastical story for Trump to do something with the steering wheel or whatever. I do think it's a pretty fantastical story. So just because she heard someone else tell her, this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to use this line of questioning to discredit their main witness. So he's propping her up to be the main witness for whatever conversation, hearing, testimony that was given. She was the prime witness. That's what he's trying to make it seem. And now he's trying to discredit her with certain statements that seem outlandish, that are debunked by people that are considered firsthand witnesses. So that is his intent here. And I guess this really bars nothing into like the overall picture of Donald Trump's incitement of the MAGA crowd to go at Jan 6. And your bitch ass literally said that they were being violent, and now you're trying to play coy because you're a pathetic cuck. And then this also plays nothing into Donald Trump calling senators and saying, listen to me, or listen to me while my MAGA crowd's out there threatening your life. Or he's just talking about listen to me, or my MAGA crowd there is out there to, go after other congressmen in life, or the false slate of elector stuff with Georgia. Oh, this like random story with this car thing, that shit means nothing to me, especially hearing your statements from before. But you got your clip though, Jim. You got your clip. MAGA's gonna go like, yes, Jim. You're gonna love that shit. Fuck
Mr.
yeah.
Smith, you said this. My recollection with Ms. Hutchinson was a number of the things that she gave evidence on were secondhand hearsay. You remember making that statement to us last month in the deposition?
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and you also said Ms. Hutchinson regarding the deposition?
I did.
She gave evidence on were secondhand hearsay. You remember making that statement to us last month in the deposition?
I did, and I was referring particularly to what we're talking about now.
Yeah, and you also said
Literally, we just did all that. So this is so manipulative. It's just some people, I have to break all this down. Okay, let's go.
Ms. Hutchinson regarding this particular claim was a second or even third-hand witness. We asked you, if you were a defense attorney, how would you handle cross-examining her if she was on the witness stand? And you said, if I were a defense attorney and Ms. Hutchinson were a witness, the first thing I would do was seek to preclude her testimony because it was hearsay. You remember saying all that?
Yes, that's correct, sir.
That's correct, right? Were you going to put her on the witness stand if you ever got to trial?
We had not made final determinations as to who we were going to call as a witness. We had a large.
You were still considering her?
We had a large.
Is that the best you can do? Is that the best you could do? Potential witness to a trial that did not happen? Is that the best you could do? Let's talk about the evidence, Jim. Let's talk about what actually happened. Let's talk about your statements. Let's talk about something that actually was said. That's not hearsay. These are your fucking words. How things change now that MAGA is your daddy. Now Donald Trump is your daddy. Things change pretty quickly, huh? Pretty quickly, huh? Oh, that's crazy.
Choice of witnesses in this case.
Are you familiar with what Washington Post reporters Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis said in their book? They did this book, 300-some pages book on chronicling the whole investigation of the Justice Department.
Nobody gives a fuck about some random news reporter's books or editorials. Why is your evidence someone's random fucking book or editorial? Do you not have actual evidence? Is that all you could do with some random person that works in the news says? Is that how you formulate an opinion? They're what they're saying?
And here's what they said on page 310. They said Jack Smith had wondered whether some of Hutchinson's claims might be relied upon at trial. Still, at one point, Smith told the elections team he wasn't ready to give up on Hutchinson's account. Ultimately, however, Trump administration officials uniformly, fiercely disputed her accounts under oath. Prosecutors on your team told Smith they wouldn't want to use Hutchinson as a witness in court, and Smith agreed.
Oh, well, actually, I'll take that back. That's actually a pretty good quote. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty good quote. His editorial thing he said before, the only reason why I crashed out a little bit is because that was fucking garbage. I don't give a fuck what an editorial says. But that was a pretty good quote. All right, let me hear Jack Smith's rebuttal to that. Because this is still a potential witness. Even though he tried to make it seem like this is the star witness, there's no evidence of that. He's just trying to manipulate the perception of what is going on.
Are Carol Leonnig and Aaron Davis, who wrote this, are they lying?
My recollection is that I certainly have not made any final determinations about who we were going to call.
And that's the point. That is the point. The fact that they used her in a primetime hearing and you won't rule out using her, didn't rule out using her, putting her on the witness stand when everybody knows she wasn't telling the truth, that says it all. That's the degree.
No, that's not what happened. They didn't say she wasn't telling the truth. They were saying they don't want to use secondary or tertiary hearsay for a specific testimony, which is very fair. Hearsay is a very flawed piece of evidence, and it can manipulate how people perceive things. Luckily, this is just as bad in terms of like hearings, but he didn't say she's a liar. He said this specific statement is flawed, but that's why you're only using one statement to discredit the entire witness. It's a very very disgusting way of going about things. I'm not gonna lie.
Left and Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump, putting on the witness stand someone everybody knows is making it up. Everybody knows that. And you were willing to. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
People are name calling you, Rackster?
185.
What did they say? What did you say? What did you say for people to name call?
Democrats were willing to go to get President Trump, putting on the witness stand someone everybody knows is making it up. Everybody knows that. And you were willing to. By the way, you know how many times Cassidy Hutchinson was mentioned in their report, the January 6th report? Any idea, Mr. Smith?
I do not.
185 times. Someone that the whole country knows wasn't telling the truth. And
in terms of optics, this is a very effective strategy. It's a very effective strategy. Is it substantive? Because no, there's more nuance and context behind this entire thing very clearly. But he's focusing on one minute point to create a whole characterization. If Jack Smith is not allowed to like respond in terms of her utilization, especially in regards to the report he's referring to, and her absolute value for the overall investigation, if he can't respond to that, then optically it looks like a W. I'll give you that. This is much more effective than what the other guy did, where he was just cutting him off the entire time. So let me hear what happens.
you were still considering putting her on the witness stand because you had to get President Trump, and everybody can see that. We better take a recess for.
Oh, he's not going to respond? That optically looked good for MAGA. I'll give him that. Substantively, like, it's bullshit. Focusing on one statement to decredit everything she says 108 times is fucking ridiculous, especially since she didn't make the claim it happened. She said she heard it happen. So there was no lie there. You can't prove she lied about hearing it. But you can say that this is not admissible evidence. Those are two different things. I know MAGA doesn't understand they're two different things. They are two different things. So it's, yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Base.
For votes, we will resume as soon as votes are over. Back here, 10 minutes.
That didn't happen. Very kindly, Mr. Chairman, and this just goes to the question of the hypothetical witness at the trial that didn't happen. New York Times, May 1, 2024, Trump acknowledges he wanted to go to the Capitol.
He knows exactly what the strategy is. Hypothetical witness of a trial that didn't happen. That's literally what I said, man. So, all right. he might be able to clean this all up and allow him to elaborate what the fuck is going on. And just like he did it for the first time, he might be able to tear apart this entire thing, because that was some bullshit. Optically, it looked good, but that was some bullshit questioning. Nate's on my dick. Ugh. It doesn't feel good either. Come on, Nate. Congressional hearings are not courtrooms. That's where Republicans are allowed to lie so much. Facts. Like, I know that. That's why I really just dislike congressional hearings. You can't hold them to the fire of the bullshit that they're saying. It's ridiculous PR stunts. Like, in my opinion, if we're not really going to talk about things with substance, these shits are fucking waste of time. They're a waste of everybody's time. It's just good clips. I'm not gonna lie.
On January 6th,
Objection.
Carol Leonnig, who you quoted, Carol Leonnig outlines Tony Ornato's history of lies. That's June 30, 2022.
Objection.
In July 1, 2022, the men disputing Hutchinson's testimony are two of Trump's biggest acolytes. And finally, by one, Tony didn't happen. And this just goes to the question of the hypothetical witness at the trial that did.
All right, I'll include Jim Jordan right here, Jim Jordan segment, and then we're gonna go right back to Raskin segment, because I think Raskin's about to fucking fillet MAGA right now. Let's hear it, Raskin. Go crazy.
Didn't happen. New York Times, May 1, 2024, Trump acknowledges he wanted to go to the Capitol on January 6th.
Objection.
Carol Leonnig, who you quoted, Carol Leonnig outlines Tony Ornato's history of lies. That's June 30, 2022.
Objection.
In July 1, 2022, the men disputing Hutchinson's testimony are two of Trump's biggest acolytes. And finally, June 29, 2022, CNN, Hutchinson's
let me hear
June
this
30,
again.
2022, who you hypothetical witness at the.
You hear the objections? They don't. Hey, fuck, real evidence. No, not real evidence. No. That's why they're trying objection. They don't want that shit out there. Come on.
Consent request.
Didn't happen. And then this just goes to the question of the hypothetical witness at the trial that didn't happen. New York Times, May 1, 2024, Trump acknowledges he wanted to go to the Capitol on January 6th.
Donald Trump wanted to go to the Capitol. So he wanted to go. All right. So they were driving there.
Objection.
Carol Leonnig, who you quoted, Carol Leonnig outlines Tony Ornato's history of lies. That's June 30, 2022.
So one of the people that Jim Jordan quoted also said that one of the people is a liar. I'm guessing it's one of the Secret Service. What's his name? What do you name?
You quoted, Carol Leonnig outlines Tony Ornato's history of lies.
Tony Ornato's history. Who's Tony Ornato? Tony Ornato. Mega. Or fuck. Tony Ornato. Let me see. Is this the Secret Service guy? Tony Ornato. Oh no, this is former White House Deputy Chief of Staff. So the same person that Jim Jordan quoted, he also was using this guy's statements. So the person he quoted also said another quote that he used as a lie. He said, oh, her statements about Jack, she also said that one of the quotes that you used was him lying. Yo, Raskin is cooking this boy. Raskin's cooking. All right, keep going, Raskin.
That's June 30, 2022.
Objection.
In July 1, 2022, the men disputing Hutchinson's testimony are two of Trump's biggest acolytes. And
damn, he even go like, oh yeah, the people that said that it didn't happen, oh, they're both MAGA. They're Trump's biggest acolytes. Yo, he's tearing apart his entire questioning. Oh, Raskin, keep going,
finally,
Raskin.
June 29, 2022, CNN, Cassidy Hutchinson stands by her testimony amid pushback.
Damn, he destroyed Jim Jordan. All of Jim Jordan's focus on this like one particular hearsay statement to discredit the witness got destroyed in a matter of like 1 minute. This is something that MAGA is not used to. It's a very dangerous word. I'm going to say it for you. With evidence. Oh man, that hurt. I know it hurt. I know evidence hurts. But with evidence. Come on. All right, Raskin. You did your shing. You did your shing. Shout out Raskin for that shing. Shout out. Should I sting? Good shit, Raskin. Spend some of the time watching people that can't stand. Yeah, MAGA is very interesting. I'm not really sure why they do that. Maybe they like subconsciously think, I know I'm supporting a piece of shit, so maybe something will inspire me to step out of the darkness. Maybe that's what's going on. I respect it. MAGA, I want you guys to have good jobs. You know, I want you guys to have good jobs. I want a good country. I want us to work together. I don't want the racists to have a good life, but you know, let's lock in. Hey, Dub, this Sharka person is like a hacker from Nigeria. Like, don't pair that person no mind. They're not real. They're not real people. They're not real people.
Thank you very much.
Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, over the past few years,
Right, that's how you put the mic down. Oh, he destroyed Jim Jordan. He absolutely tore apart his entire thing. That's why he was like, objection, no, I can't allow this. Objection, this can't be on the report. Objection. I can't be destroyed. Damn, Jim. Fuck. Pussy? That's what Riskin said. Come on.
Republicans have waged constant attacks on you. Donald Trump has said you are totally compromised, a political hitman, a left-wing radical, a criminal, a fully weaponized monster, and that you should be considered mentally deranged and thrown out of the country. Just this week, he called you a sick bastard. Unfortunately, the rules of decorum prevent me from saying what I think of Donald Trump. But he is not the only one to launch attacks against you. Chairman Jordan has accused you of abusive surveillance and accused you and your team of partisan and politically motivated prosecutions. Despite the mountain of evidence that you laid out in the special counsel's report and in your court filings, President Trump's supporters are convinced that the only reason your team tried to hold him accountable is because you have a vendetta against him. I want to address these allegations today. You have had a long...
Sharaka, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if you're from Nigeria, maybe China, possibly India, maybe Russia. Russians love Donald Trump, as we know. You could be Russian. Work on the side of good, you hacker. Do some good. Come on, lock in. Jerry, our sharp my pants Nadler. That's not even a good one. Do better. You could have done something better than Jerry sharp my pants. Like, that's so weak sauce. Lock in. MAGA, even come on.
And distinguished career with the Justice Department, including serving as the chief of DOJ's Public Integrity Section for 5 years. While leading the Public Integrity Section, you led investigations and prosecution of public figures and political leaders from both parties, Republicans and Democrats. Can you give us a couple of examples?
Sorry about that. During my time as the chief of public integrity, I investigated cases involving both Republicans and Democrats. The standard in all of those cases was the same: follow the facts and the law. It didn't matter what party you were in, it mattered the facts of the case. In doing that, there were cases I brought against Democrats and cases I brought against Republicans. There were also cases that I investigated and did not bring against Democrats and Republicans. Party affiliation played no role in my investigations. I can think of multiple cases of prominent members of Congress that we investigated who were Republicans who, upon reviewing the law and the facts.
I appreciate it. Those words are going to help me sleep good tonight. I was wondering what kind of dream I wanted to have. Now it's going to be a good dream. I haven't had some bad dreams in a while, but this will be a good dream. Just because of that statement right there, I'm about to dream good. I'm about to dream. All attacking, just subscribe, best wishes. Appreciate you. This is a double. He's trying to help me have like really good dreams tonight. I don't have to worry about Insidious. Fight off monsters. It's crazy. Aiming for 1,000 subs, by the way. We're almost there. I can get monetized. All attacking 23-year-old when they should be working with Nick Shirley, free up more money for Americans. Are you a Nick Shirley fan? Why? Why though? Like, is this some type of fetish? Does he look like a little boy? Is that why you like him? Like, okay, sure.
I decided not to go forward in those cases. And the same can be said with people on the Democratic side. I've always tried to follow the facts and the law in my career.
When it comes to deciding whether to pursue a criminal prosecution of an individual, what factors do you consider?
I'll be honest, I didn't really like that answer from Jack Smith. I think if he was going to give an answer about him prosecuting Republicans and Democrats, I don't give a fuck if you say, oh, I've prosecuted Republicans and Democrats fairly. I've done that my entire career. Nobody gives a fuck. You give me an example so we can substantiate your claim. I'm not saying he doesn't, but in a situation like this where there's people that are just that either are driven by narratives or driven by evidence, you need to, in order to better control the narrative, you have to have like things clearly you could point to for evidence to substantiate your qualifications. You know, there are sources out there that do it, like Politico or PolitiFact, but you needed a better answer there, Jack.
The primary factors are the facts and the law. As a federal prosecutor, in making a prosecutorial decision, you're guided by the federal principles of prosecution, which guide one.
Let me see this. Is this woman, is it a Russian woman? Now, this is more than likely a fake image. Maybe it's even AI. This is AI. I'm thinking Russian. It's probably just like an Indian dude. It's either an Indian dude or a Russian woman. Putin doesn't like you.
Not only to look at the facts and the law, but the federal interests. And that is exactly what we did in this case, as set forth in my final report.
Does partisan politics play a role in your decision whether or not to prosecute someone?
None.
To be clear, did partisan politics play a role in your decision to charge Donald Trump?
It did not.
What does it do to the justice system if political leaders place pressure on prosecutors to file charges against their political enemies? What are the implications if prosecution decisions are based on politics, not the law?
I think it weakens the rule of law in our country.
I just don't think this questioning is effective. Because, like, obviously everybody that's MAGA is going to think, oh, he's full of shit, whatever. Okay. But, like, if you're in the center and you're listening to it, it's like, they think everybody in the government's like liars. So this particular questioning is just not, maybe it's effective to old people. So something that I have to really recognize is that the old guard that tend to vote more do get influenced by simplistic statements, dare I say. So something like that, where it just seems like he has more integrity, he said with confidence, that can sway a lot of like older people. For me, I think obviously much more in-depthly. So it's not effective for me, but maybe that's effective. I don't know. This questioning is just not very effective. We'll see if they give more substance, because like I said, the first line of questioning from that one young he looked like a fucking bootleg version of a combination of Ron DeSantis and Ben Shapiro. Like, his questions were dog shit. He just tried to play gotchas. Jim Jordan's were good for optics, and then Raskin it has been the best by far in terms of like framing a narrative and giving out evidence. But this questioning, it's not great. It's not great. Watching politicians that are so disingenuous, bought and paid for, most of them. A good number of like federal politicians for sure.
Because it weakens the mechanism for us to prosecute, among other things, corruption. When there is political prosecutions targeting people because they're enemies of the president, the department loses credibility and it can't do its job in all sorts of cases.
According to your deposition before this committee, it sounds like your problem was not determining if you had enough evidence to charge Donald Trump, but rather that you might have had too much evidence and struggled to determine how to present a clear narrative to a jury. How would you characterize the evidence against Mr. Trump about inciting an insurrection against the laws of this country? Did you have too much?
Well,
this is an interesting question. This one is actually very interesting. Let's hear it.
With respect to presenting the case that we charged, one of the central challenges was trying to present that in a concise way, because we did have so many witnesses. Some of the most powerful witnesses were witnesses who, in fact, were fellow Republicans who had voted for Donald Trump, who had campaigned for him, and who wanted him to win the election. These included state officials, people who worked on his campaign, and advisors. I will say, however, with respect to the charge of insurrection, we did not charge that, as I set forth in my report. Well, I believe that there is, courts have found that that was an insurrection and that there's a reasonable interpretation, a reasonable prosecutor could interpret the evidence to support that charge. I chose not to do that, looking at the facts in the law. I thought the charges we brought were appropriate, given the evidence that we had.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for your decades-long public service.
I don't really like that answer, to be honest. Yeah, I'm gonna make a clip. I'm gonna make a clip from that one. I wish, at the very least, what I would have loved. It was a solid answer, but I was just looking to dive into it a little bit more. I think he did answer it. I don't know. I think it just could have been better. It could have been better. He answered it, though. He throws an opinion in there as fat, then backed it up with a question that someone can't answer without agreeing with him. They're very slippery. Oh, the fucking Ron DeSantis looking motherfucker. Yeah, he definitely did that for sure. Of course, Phil Trump also. Yeah, Donald Trump loves to, you know what I'm saying? Feel me? You already know. Donald Trump weirdo. Facts. Gen 6 is epitome of a tantrum.
And for working tirelessly to uphold the rule of law. Those who attack and smear you and your team in order to protect Donald Trump should be ashamed of themselves. I yield back.
You know, it is funny that you say that, Josephus. I don't know why we don't. Okay, lie detector tests are not foolproof. I think I wouldn't be surprised if more than like less than 50% of the time that they're accurate. However, I'm just surprised there is not a attempt to really focus on acquiring more lie detector technology as like circumstantial evidence. You can't use lie detector tests to come to conclusions. I guess, actually, lie detector tests are too unreliable. I don't know. Because I'm trying to make the argument that it can be used as circumstantial evidence. It can be used as part of telling a full picture. I'm thinking that out, but at the same time, I realize that people generally, especially if you have a jury, people generally will consider a determination of a lie detector test, regardless of its unreliability, as more reliable than not. I'm guessing if I asked an average person how reliable is a lie detector test, they would probably say like 80%. And that's more than likely not true. It probably is less than 50, if I'm guessing. I'm not gonna look it up right now. I don't care that much. So I'll probably take back that statement, but I do think there is something interesting about utilizing certain technology to dissect the truth a little bit more efficiently instead of just completely relying on psychological questioning. I do think there's more you can find there, and obviously just evidence too. It's an interesting thought. If they fix the lie detector test, the demonic party would be done. MAGA would be done. Indeed, they would be cooked. At the very least, if you don't want to introduce lie detector tests, you probably can introduce like mandated live fact checking on all political stages. Like anytime there's a political debate, a political speech, anytime there should be live fact checking. It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican. People should not be able to lie to you. Most people don't research. They don't look things up like I do. So yeah, you can listen to my amazing podcast, Purple Political Breakdown. Yes, you could do that, but most people won't, of course. So there should be just live fact checking for every politician. The GB has a lack on the government, therefore people have given up on the. No, Democrats are gonna do some really good shit during the midterms. There's plenty of fact checking. There are Slimer, but you got one thing you have to realize is You have to meet Americans to what they commonly do. That's sometimes you have to kind of meet them, not halfway. Sometimes you have to meet them all the fucking way. So in a situation where there's going to be an old dude looking at Fox News, he's not going to look it up. He's not going to fact check. He's not going to Google search. He's going to just believe what is being told to him. So it should just be mandatory that fact checking is always there, right on the fucking screen. Hey, fucking this politician here is lying, right on the screen. This is the actual facts, right on the screen. So they are seeing the right evidence in real time. In real time. And then we probably should have that for social media a lot more too as well. I'm not gonna lie. Like, fuck. It's so bad on social media. Misinformation on social media is disgusting. Sodium. Oh, is that like truth serum? Is that truth serum? Sodium pentothal? Pentothal? Is that truth serum?
Someone yields back. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Mr. Smith,
I just went on a tangent on lie detector test.
do you see criminals to my left? You don't see any. Do you see people who are committing crimes because they continue to believe things that just aren't true? That's paraphrasing Ronald Reagan, that liberals aren't stupid. They just know things that don't happen to be true. If the president believed that he was cheating.
What are these dog shit questions? Wait, what? Why is she just carrying a sign? This girl, she's in, what are we doing? I saw the One Piece poster and immediately know everything I need to know. Don't come to conclusions based off my love for one of the greatest pieces of fiction of all time. I also have the full volume of Attack on Titan. And I also have Elliptical. There used to be an American flag there, but Donald Trump sucks. I also got push-up bars things. What conclusion can you come up with all that evidence right there? I also have a bed. Please tell me all the conclusions you can come up with that. Are you still supporting the old man that I'm not? Fuck Donald Trump. I can't wait until. Oh, is that what's his name? Freedom Fighter. We're locked in, Sean. That's a good one. That's a good conclusion to make. Seems like they like to use entrapment as a tactic so they can get a soundbite. Yeah, that's the mega strategy. Just fucking clips. Song criminals to my left, politician to my right. That fact. Actually, let me hear that again. You might be cooking.
You don't see any.
What is
to my left? Mr. Smith, do you see criminals to my left?
What kind of fucking question is that? Do you see criminals to my left in a room full of fucking congressmen? What the fuck are you on about? What? What is that question?
You don't see any. Do you see people who are committing crimes because they continue to believe things that just aren't true?
These questions suck. Oh, Sasha Tyler. That's what it. You know what? I need to look up the Sasha Tyler stuff. I know exactly what you're referring to. I need to. I've yet to talk about that. I've yet to talk about it.
That's paraphrasing Ronald Reagan, that liberals aren't stupid. They just know things that don't happen to be true. If the president.
That's a fucking stupid point. Hey, good clip on White House. You got your little clip moment, buddy, with your fucking greasy ass haircut. Your fucking mob boss like look. Fucking wannabe what's his name? What's the infamous gangster's name? Al Capone. Get the fuck out of here. Do you see criminals on the left? Just shut the fuck up, pussy. But I would be so terrible. I'll be so terrible in these situations. The thing about me though, I am more than willing 10 toes if someone clips something I say from like my streams or my content that I make, and I talk to one of these politicians, they'll be like, yeah, I said that. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, he might just shoot me. This guy looks like a mob boss. He might just come for me at my home. I'm not gonna lie. I might be cooked. But 10 toes, fuck. I ain't switching up. We here, locked in. Beyond you, bro. Blah blah blah. I hate to use this word, but stupid is just stupid. That's who you are. You stupid. I'll call you stupid. Super stupid. Oh man, that sounds like something my little brother would come up with back when he was in like kindergarten. You poopy head. This comment looks like you poopy head. Shout out W. You cook, Carlos. You're a fucking gangster.
President believed that he was cheated in an election, that there was fraud, or in some other way, a number of items led to his defeat, when in fact he should have won according to the Constitution. Does that make him a criminal?
No, he shouldn't have won because of the Constitution. You made that shit up. This is a good fact checking moment. There will be a fucking blurb right here saying, no, he shouldn't have won because of the Constitution. This motherfucker is making it up. His Mafia Bob looking ass. That's what the fact check would say right in the top right corner. Could I just like add a fact check like thing? Can I? Oh no. I'm not on. If I was on like Streamline, if I was on OBS, I could probably put text wherever I want to. It'd be funny if I just add my own fact check in the corner anytime MAGA just says some bullshit.
Sir,
No, that's a yes or no, please, Mr. Smith. These people here are continuing to grapple constantly with things that aren't true, like socialism works, or that some.
Who the fuck is saying socialism works? Shut your bitch ass up. Shut your bitch ass up. What are you talking about? Democrats are saying socialism work. No. Democrats are not saying that. You're making shit up. He's a fucking congressman. Like, why are the dumbest motherfuckers in Congress on the right? Why do you guys pick some of the dumbest people to be your congressman? What are we doing? Imagine the AI could generate some kind of connection to their microphone that would real-time fact check that with just a small delay and be able to broadcast so the people can't see. That would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. I am working with a platform that's trying to implement AI in real-life conversations. Shout out Head On. I am working with a platform that's trying to do not fact check in real time, but trying to use AI to facilitate more proper conversations.
How everything the Republicans do is evil and everything they do is right. They've never reached a conclusion.
Yeah, Democrats on large, Democrat politicians don't say that. His dumbass mother should have swallowed this bitch ass. That's such a like crazy flame. There's a lot of accidents out there. It's very possible. It's very possible.
In a typical partisan case in which we're not evil because we think something different.
When you think about it, like that insult, no offense, Kira, that insult, your mother should have swallowed you. You know what it makes it like? If you really think about that insult, right? If you say your mother sort of swallowed you, that means she didn't swallow when it's in her mouth, and then she took it out of her mouth, and then you feel me? She put it in a different place, and that's how someone was born. If you really deep that insult, that's what's going on. If you're being honest,
we're not wrong. You understand the Constitution. Do you understand the Bill of Rights, that someone has the absolute right to believe something, whether it's true or not, and to advocate for something, whether it's true or not? Do you understand that in addition to your oath to the Constitution, that's one of the things the First Amendment allows for, isn't it?
No, fuck. You can't just say whatever the fuck you want just because you believe it. That's one of the dumbest things I ever heard in my life. What are you talking about? Those people want to go to Congress because they think that the power overshadows their insecurities about themselves when they project their insecurities on everybody else. Josephus, you're cooking, man. You're fucking flaming young. You're building a 5-course meal. You're absolutely torching.
yes, sir.
Okay, so if you know.
And then cut him off. Fuck no. He's not allowed to answer a fucking question. That's why you got to be prepared. If you're here, you got to realize that these hearings are about gotchas. So fuck answer. This is why sometimes I respect the idea of I'm not answering your question. I'm answering my question. Sometimes that's what you got to do. We're all the libertarians. What a weak party I belong to. Yeah, libertarians, man. Like, I'm not against the idea of like the principle of like absolute liberty, so to speak. But some people who are libertarian are okay with this like abuse of executive power, and it's just that's not libertarian. Then where's the libertarianism with? How's it compatible with MACA? It just doesn't make sense to me.
That people have a right to opine, lobby for, assert, do everything they can legally to ask for people to make different decisions, then why is it you saw criminal conduct on behalf of a president who believed he didn't win?
Unfortunately.
Chairman Jordan and myself have something in common along with a number of others here. We saw wrongdoing, and on January 6th, we voted not to confirm 2 states because they had violated the U.S. Constitution in how they selected who got ballots. And yet, you're going to come here and say, oh, I just followed the law. When you went after these people and you said, well, technically I can do that, you didn't see any selective nature or any separation of powers under the Constitution to spying on the activities and the conversations of the Speaker of the House?
What did he have to tell this girl right here? She doesn't even look that old. What did he have to tell her to go like, stand behind me and just hold this up? You couldn't get a stand or something? What is it? You know, I bet there's something nefarious here. I'm not gonna lie. There's something nefarious here. Is she a Congress? She actually doesn't look that old either.
To spying on the activities and the conversations of the Speaker of the House? To what end would conversations between the Speaker of the U.S. House, third or second in line to be the president, and the president?
I wouldn't blame you.
On what basis would it be any of your business other than you believe that there was a conspiracy without conspiracy as a basic premise?
She's not a congressman.
You, like the president's men for Richard Nixon, went after your political enemies. Maybe they're not your political enemies, but they
This is not a fucking question. This is a fucking venting session. Shut up. You talk too much. Oh my, I have on 1.2. He's still talking.
Sure as hell were Joe Biden's political enemies, weren't they? They were Harris's political enemies. They were the enemies of the president, and you.
This is a new party. So I advocate for we need a stronger third party. That's one thing that I advocate for sure. And I advocate for voting reform, where there's different like voting methods to ensure that you can vote your conscious, and you can vote for like third party candidates, and it's reasonable. I actually work with an organization called Equal Vote Coalition, and I work with people that advocate for star voting and approval voting. So I think there's ways we can just bring out a different voice that's just not Democrat Republican. And hopefully after we learn from how like one whole party can completely get cultified by one man, that more parties could help ensure that this is not the case. Use a stand means that the man is just on power. Facts. He's just like, I don't. There's certain things I want to say, but I don't want to disrespect this girl. I know nothing about her. I don't know. I can say some nasty stuff right now, and get corporate money out of politics, tax the shit out of the wealthy. I'm there for taxing shit out of the wealthy, and I'm in there. Get corporate money. Okay, so I have an unpopular opinion. I say get corporate money out of politics. I agree with that. I just make where they get their money more transparent once you're in positions of power. I'm not against trading, but we need to I'm against insider trading. There's no reason why you should have certain knowledge because of your connections over other people. It's very manipulative. But something unpopular that I've said before, and I will stay 10 toes, and I can argue the hell out of this case, is that we need to raise the wages of a lot of politicians. They need to make more money, not like the fucking ways they do it now in the insider trader and the fucking rich families that live out there, like the Clintons and the Kennedys and the Trumps. But we just need to do things a lot better. A lot of people don't want to be a part of politics because one, it sucks, and two, you don't make a lot of money, especially in local politics. Unpopular opinion, but I think it's not something it's something that we probably should 100% fix for sure. I make a killer politician. Appreciate you. I've been told that before. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe one day. I'm still pretty young. Going after the political since November. I'm 100. I'm with you, Mar. I'm with you. Spying on congressional members without informing them is called weaponization of the government base. Get your ass out of the basement. This is a basement. You think if I hit my ceiling, that's the upstairs? There's people that live up there. I must be in the basement because I am on the bottom floor. I didn't realize I was in the basement. You cooked me. Fenbana has a young girlfriend behind him. Hey, man, Josephus, I didn't want to say it.
You were their arm, weren't you?
No.
No. Oh, great. So you spied on the Speaker of the House and these other senators and so on, and informed no one, and in fact put in a gag order so they couldn't discover it. If they were not subjects of a conspiracy investigation, why did Congress, a separate branch that you, under the Constitution, have to respect, why is it that no one should be informed, including the judges? As you went in to spy on these people, did you mention that you were spying on?
I would like an answer to this question, actually. We'll see if we get this. Hard disagree. A political position is supposed to be a service, not a career. We disagree there. They are too important of a job for them to not have a career. Your job should be purely focused on policy and creating solutions for the people. It can't just be a service. Your job is too important. You affect the entirety of America. I don't think there's any good argument that something that's like a volunteer job should be taken haphazardly. 24/7, your job should be understanding politics, understanding what the people want, and creating laws and executing laws in behest of the people. That should be your entire job. It shouldn't be something that you do just on your weekends. So yeah, I completely disagree with that idea. We would have terrible fucking politicians. We would have worse politicians than we do now. We need etiquette laws for our Supreme Court term limits for everyone and blind investments, and they need to be telling them the truth before they have to take on. I agree. We need way better etiquette laws. Supreme Court probably needs to get some better regulation. I don't know how to force these people to tell the truth, but they need to start fucking getting held accountable when they lie.
Seeking records so you could find out about when conversations occurred between the U.S. Speaker of the House and the president. Did you inform the judge, or did you hold that back?
My office didn't spy on anyone.
Wait a second. The question I asked.
I don't give a fuck. If I was Jack Smith, I don't care about your question. You hear that? Because I'm going to answer the fucking thing you said. Let me answer. There's no way. I'll be so terrible in these situations because ain't no way you're just going to be cutting me off like that. I'm trying to answer your question. Oh, man, I couldn't, bro. I couldn't be just being cut off the entire time. If you're not letting me talk, then what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
You, Mr. Smith, was pretty straightforward. Did you withhold that information from an Article 3 judge in the process?
He said no. You only tax what the rich make, but not what they take home. The problem is most of the rich don't build jobs. They invest in jobs. Big difference. Yes, I agree. I want to really deep dive into the best way to tax the rich, because it is a hard fix. It is absolutely a hard fix. Because the idea of just taxing income is not the full story, for sure. Appreciate you, Josephus. Definitely come back. We're definitely been growing on these, like, at the very least, vertical streams. We've been growing a lot pretty quickly. So definitely come back. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of things to talk about because that's what politics is. The Purple Political Breakdown shows are on Sunday. That's when on Saturdays, and then I have a guest episode on Saturday as well. So I have like a lot of streams on the weekends that I'm sure people will find interesting.
Of taking the records of the Speaker of the House.
We complied with the.
Did you hold
Mr.
back?
Chairman?
And shut the fuck up and let him answer the question. Jesus.
Would you please instruct the gentleman to allow the witness to answer the question?
It's not your time. I'd like my time back.
Mr. Chairman, you've
please.
repeatedly done that in the past. The witness has the right to answer the question.
And there'll be due time to answer the question. Would you please put my time back and let me finish this? Mr. Smith, I asked you a question and you were not responsive to it, and I want you.
He said 2 words. You just want a yes or no for your fucking clip. How is he not responsive saying 2 words? How's that possible? Yeah, no, shut the fuck up. Answer the way I want you to answer it. Like, what are we doing here? What is the point? I'm wasting my life listening to this bullshit. I'm skipping. Fuck this guy.
Be responsive to it. Did you, whether you think it was legal or not, whether you think it was right or not, did you withhold the name of Kevin McCarthy, Speaker of the House, when you were seeking records on Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, or Jim Jordan, the chairman of this committee?
At the time the gentleman is...
No, please give me back the time
and
and take it away.
Time has expired, but we're going to let the witness answer your question because it's an important question. The witness can respond.
We did not provide that information to the judge when we requested a non-disclosure order, consistent with the law and consistent with the party.
Mr. Chairman, the amazing thing here today.
Base. Fuck, shut up. I don't give a fuck with those. If he can't answer the fucking question, this is a waste of my goddamn time. Shut up. I don't care. All right. Guys with small hands. He fucking is grandstanding. It's ridiculous. Trump TDS equals Trump dick suckers. Nice. I like that. Smith is great. Whoever. Hey man, Smith doing his job, doing the Lord's work. Apparently, I prosecuted 1 Democrat and tried to prosecute many Republicans. How do you know that? Is that true? Should we look it up? Has Jack Smith prosecuted any Democrats? I'm trying to find a source. Has Jack Smith prosecuted any Democrats? Google, do better. You're not giving me any. Can't find anything. I can't find anything in regards to like. Let me look at his Wikipedia and just look at the people he's prosecuted. Special counsel. Prosecute. Okay. Let's look. We done underground jail base. Blah, 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 base. You're cooking. You're a fucking genius. Oh my god. Prosecuted police officer brutalized and sexualized assaulted Abner. So he prosecuted. All right. So he prosecuted the police officers who brutalized and sexually assaulted this guy. So that's base. That's a good thing, right? Hopefully. I don't know. Maggie don't care about like Haitians. So I don't know. Rennell Wilson prosecuted Rennell Wilson, who was later overturned against Rennell Wilson, who murdered 2 members of the New York Police Department. Goddamn. One Canadian person slept in an apartment for an entire week so he could intercept a witness and convince her to testify. Damn, okay, Jack. Fucking balls on the table. Where he prosecuted a variety of corruption cases, including those for Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, member of the Republican Party. Republicans corrupt. We got another Republican, former CIA employee. So is an American lawyer and former CIA employee. So no political affiliation. Shared national secrets. He's doing Lord's work. Yeah, sounds like Jack Smith does some good shit, huh? Democrat Sheldon Silver, former politician who represented North Carolina. Democrat, you were wrong. That's 2 Democrats. That's two Democrats. Sounds like Jack Smith is super based. I'm not gonna lie. Sounds like Jack Smith is based. He goes like, let me go after the fucking criminals. The criminals. What is this? Chrissy, you're lost in so good luck with Democrats. So predictable. So predictable. Oh my God. Did I do it right? No, Brian. No, Brian. You said he did not prosecute one Democrat. That's what you said, Brian. That's what you said, Brian. Well, Brian, you were wrong. Say you're wrong. Say you're wrong right now. Say you're wrong. Say you're wrong, Brian. Say you're incorrect. Say your information was false right now. I'm waiting. Brian, I'm waiting. Brian, I'm waiting for you. Your words, Brian. Facts, Brian. You're wrong. What's wrong with you, Brian? Lock the fuck in, Brian. Still waiting for you, Brian. Just remember, MAGA and Dem will be back in charge, and yeah, Dems will fix all the bullshit. Nah, Dems will try to fix all the bullshit. It's cooked. MAGA mom should have swallowed. Brian, he said, LOL. I'm still waiting, Brian. I'm still waiting. Hey, Christy, I'm not lost in the sauce. I'm not lost in the sauce, Christy. Look at my eyes, Christy. I'm not lost in the sauce. Not lost in the sauce, Christy. All right, let's continue.
Earlier the chairman spent a lot of time talking about Cassidy Hutchinson, who we know was just one of many witnesses.
MAGA's a verb. No.
It's important to note that
it's a slur.
There was testimony that she was told something by Mr. Ornato, not that she had personal knowledge. And of course, Mr. Ornato was of very questionable veracity. We had a testimony from a Metropolitan Police Department official about an argument, a big argument that the president was having about going to the Capitol. And in fact, the vehicle was delayed going back to the Capitol while that argument occurred. But having said that, I want to focus on something my colleagues across the aisle seem to want to ignore. The fact that your investigation into President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election was built on testimony from members of the Republican Party. In fact, last week, the New York Times published grand jury transcripts in Georgia that show the same pattern in Trump's Georgia criminal case. Georgia Republican Attorney General Chris Carr testified that he told, quote, this is a quote, we're just not seeing the things that—
And I do like Kamala. Kamala's a baddie. Facts. And also, Biden is one of the greatest presidents we had in recent memory. Facts. I don't give a fuck about Tim. Tim is a coward. How dare you drop out? Terrible. GOP really doesn't want Jack Smith's part 2 of his reports to come out. They try to smear him all day. They did not. Yeah, this they try to do optic wins and clippable moments. That shit is fucking ass. If you actually understand what is going on, it's very clear that MAGA can't handle the smoke. They can't deal with evidence-based conversation. To make is a verb. MAGA is a noun. It's just a boogeyman. Low IQ voters used to make themselves morally superior. Base. Nuns, can you learn English? Can I learn English? I don't know. I don't know if I can learn English. It's a very good question. I have no idea if I can learn English. Why do the moon bats on the left look like moo bats? What? I don't even know what that means.
You are seeing, and the late Georgia House Speaker David told Party Trump's attempt.
I've been ignoring this old ass lady.
Having apartment.
Sorry, old lady. Hey, all respect to all these old people, but come on. We need less old people. We just need less old people. She's probably very smart. At the very least, instead, these old people have a lot of knowledge. They can be what do you call it? What's the fucking word for people who can give you wisdom? What are they called? I wouldn't say confidants. I wouldn't say nothing like teachers or mentors or anything. It's just someone who could give you they could be advisors. They could be advisors. That's what they can be. Oh, my name is spelled elder. Well, they could be elders too. Not gonna lie. Well, advisors. Tutor. Well, tutors. I want to call them tutors, but advisors, or if you want to call them elders, sure. But yeah. Phone did spell correct. Oh, your phone spelled my name correctly? Your phone told me how to spell my own name, Brian? Is that how it works? I didn't realize how that worked. Wizards. Yo, wizard. That's hilarious. Hey, they could be like that dude who mentored fucking King Arthur. So I'm native. I don't know what that means. Anon girl. I don't know, anonymous is scaring me. So far in the past, she needs to be, so yo, she has some wisdom. She lived through it. I'm sure she lived through it.
And to note that there was testimony that she was told something by Mr. Ornato, not that she had personal knowledge. And of course, Mr. Ornato was of very questionable veracity. We had a testimony from a Metropolitan Police Department official about an argument, a big argument that the president.
Here's me making fun of her age, and she's spitting. Hold on, let's hear it out. Our elders are our mentors. Oh, you're Native American. I'm not fucking locked in. Oh, okay. Shout out. So she's from California. Okay.
Mr. Smith, thank you for being here today. Earlier the chairman spent a lot of time talking about
wisdom is an experience. It's experience applied. That's a good one. You're cooking. I would say it's wisdom applied, like applying your experience and really rationalizing what you've learned and how it made you become who you became, and utilizing that knowledge to further the next generation is super valuable. So I'm with you. No, Randall, I spelled N dubs. It came back none. What the fuck are you talking about, Brian? Brian, what are you talking about? When are you going to tell me you're wrong?
Cassidy Hutchinson, who we know is just one of many witnesses. It's important to note that there was testimony that she was told something by Mr. Ornato, not that she had personal knowledge. And of course, Mr. Ornato.
So the witness that Jim Jordan was going after was told that information by Ornato himself.
Ornato was of very questionable veracity. We had a testimony from a Metropolitan Police Department official about an argument, a big argument that the president was having about going to the Capitol. And in fact, the vehicle was delayed going back to the Capitol while that argument occurred. But having said that, I want to focus on something my colleagues across the aisle.
Kill cooking. Jim Jordan, fucking, he was yapping, and they just keep on. This is evidence, Jim. This is evidence. We have quotes. Come on. Brian standing 10 toes. He is fighting with autocorrect. Autocorrect don't like my name, to be fair, so it'd be like that. You know what I'm saying? Remember, stole the 2015 election because Russia bought Facebook. Hey, man, Russia, they really wanted Trump to win. 34 count felony, violent daily did crimes. Who would have guessed? Vox. I don't know who would have guessed. I think people with common sense probably had good insight.
Seem to want to ignore the fact that your investigation into.
Whoa, William. Jim Jordan's hiding the sex abuse at Ohio State University? Whoa. Should we dig up some dirt on Jim Jordan? Is that something we should do over here? Should we dig up some Jim Jordan dirt? Probably we were in office. We're also involved with the planning. Yeah, all those names that fucking wannabe mafia boss put up there. Yeah, he just put a whole list of the people. It's like they probably were involved. You know what I'm saying? Base, let to never tell you the truth. Base, facts, cooking. You're him. Oh my God.
President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election was built on testimony from members of the Republican Party. In fact, last week,
oh my God, is she about to flame mignon the Republicans? Oh, is she about to ether? Is she about to bow the Republicans? Okay, let's hear this. Let's hear this old ass fossil bow the Republicans. She about to torque crazy. Oh, let me chill. Hey, I respect you. Come on my podcast. This is just a character. I'm influenced by my toxic chat. I'm sorry. Now please cook the Republicans for me. Let's see it. Let's see it.
New York Times published grand jury transcripts from Georgia that show the same pattern in Trump's Georgia criminal case. Georgia's Republican Attorney General Chris Carr testified that the Republican Party and Trump's colleagues across the aisle seemed while that argument occurred. But having said that, I want to focus on something my colleagues across the aisle seem to want to ignore. The fact that your investigation into President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election was built on testimony from members of the Republican Party. In fact, last week, the New York Times published grand jury transcripts from Georgia that show the same pattern in Trump's Georgia criminal case. Georgia's Republican Attorney General Chris Carr testified that he told, quote, and this is a quote, "We're just not seeing the things that you are seeing." And the late Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, also a Republican, testified that Trump's fake elector scheme was, quote, "the craziest thing I've heard." And then there's Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the president's closest allies.
You see that? Republican said, "This is the craziest thing I heard." Bring a little sass with it. Come on.
His secret grand jury testimony, Senator Graham told the jurors, quote, "I have told him more times than we can count that he fell short," unquote. And then he said this, quote, "If you told him Martians came and stole votes, he'd be inclined to believe it."
Yo, Republicans saying that motherfucker's so stupid he would believe aliens stole the election. Like she said, these are quotes from the Republicans, ladies and gentlemen. Before they were cuckold and let Donald Trump put his small penis in the crevice of their tooth. Before that, they actually knew ball. Crazy how that works, right? All of a sudden, they pretending that they were always behind Trump and Trump always won the election. She's cooking them. Keep cooking them.
Martians. That's from Senator Graham speaking under oath. So here's my question. Mr. Smith, in your deposition with this committee, you testified, and here's a quote, "Our case was built on, frankly, Republicans who put their allegiance to the country before the party." Also, that the president's closest allies are telling him that his claims of election fraud are wrong. And so I'm just wondering, can you explain what you meant in your deposition that it was Republicans who were putting their allegiance to their country ahead of their party?
Yes. There were witnesses who I felt would be very strong witnesses, including, for example, the Secretary of State in Georgia, who told Donald Trump the truth, told him things that he did not want to hear, and put him on notice that what he was saying was false. These were people who knew how the elections were conducted in these states. And I believe that witnesses of that nature, witnesses who are willing to tell the truth, even if it's going to impose a cost on them in their lives, my experience as a prosecutor over 30 years is that witnesses like that are very credible, and that jurors tend to believe witnesses like that because they pay a cost for telling the truth.
In terms of the grand jury testimony.
Damn. Maggie, how do you feel that Republicans were the ones who actually had a pair of balls before their balls shrank up? How do you feel about that? Mr. Smith is an American patriot. A rare breed, a man of integrity. Thanks. Hey, man, shout out.
That's now been released. The fact that Donald Trump, according to Senator Graham, would believe that Martians stole the election, what does that tell you about Trump's state of mind?
That statement is consistent with what we found in our investigation, in that our investigation revealed that Donald Trump was not looking for honest answers about whether there was fraud in the election. He was looking for ways to stay in power. And when people told him things that conflicted with him staying in power, he rejected them, or he chose not even to contact people like that who would know if the election was done properly in the state. On the other hand, when individuals would say things that would allow him to stay in power, no matter how fantastical, he would latch onto those. That pattern, over time, we felt was powerful evidence that he, in fact, knew that the fraud claims he was making were false.
You know, who are some of the Republican witnesses?
Damn. Cooking that fraud. Cooking them. Shout out, Mr. Smith.
Who told you that who told President Trump that his claims of election fraud were false? Can you share that with us?
There were a range of witnesses. They ranged from people on his campaign team who had wanted him to win, were employed to help him win the election. They included state officials, state Republican officials.
All right. So something that I noticed, which I'm not upset about, but I can understand why people would be upset. Maybe they are. I have no idea. He's not giving out names. Now, the reason why he's not giving out names is very clear, because he doesn't want them to be weaponized against, and he still needs them to be useful, like insiders, so to speak. When you have information or people with that level of like influence or power, you don't want to out them. So I'm not mad that he's not giving out strict names of the Republicans who said what they said at all. But I do think I would understand why people would be upset, but you just got to really look at the bigger picture. I think it's I respect Jack Smith being very discreet with this. I'll be honest. Yeah, Donald Trump is definitely shameless. Definitely a jack up. Someone said MAGA means witch in Latin. Is that true? I low-key want to look that up. Hold on. No, I don't. I'm gonna believe you. Just believe you. Just sure. I took a Latin class in high school, but I definitely wasn't taught about whether or not MAGA means witch. I'll give you that for sure.
Who wanted him to win, voted for him, campaigned for him, asked him and his co-conspirators to provide evidence to support their claims, and invariably they never did. It included officials, advisors, people he worked with in the White House who he relied upon for important decisions and who he trusted in other contexts. We felt we had strong evidence from a variety of sources.
Time of the gentlelady has expired.
Mr. Chairman, with my fellow Californian, you were allowing the witness.
Yeah, it's a
to
good
answer.
question. Isn't that grounds to let him answer?
I've given him 30 seconds extra, the gentlelady 30 seconds extra. If the gentleman can be concise and finish up here quickly, we will allow him to finish.
Yes, sir. And just conclude saying we felt that constituted powerful evidence of the knowing falsity of his statements in furtherance of the fraud.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to yield back, noting the presence of officers who were severely
Got
attacked.
nothing to yield back. A minute over. The gentleman from
Protecting
Texas.
our lives on January 6th.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gill, is recognized for 5 minutes.
All right, he's from Texas, so you about to be a cowboy. Don Tootin. But tell me, let me hear what why Trump is so blameless. Not witch, it means narcissistic loon. Fair enough. That means a woman with enchanting powers. Does it really? Okay, now I want to look it up. Google Translate. Detect MAGA. Turn this into... Is Latin not available for Google Translate? It's not. Hold on. Oh, it is. I'm tripping. You lied to me. I put it in here. I just got MAGA. That's all I got. I didn't get anything else. Which it in Latin, I'm just going to believe you. And this is the left. Oh my God, Mama Mina. You can't take a joke. Oh my, you guys are so boring. If I said it in this voice, would you believe me? I'm just gonna believe you, because MAGA means witch, and I love my witches. The witches are the greatest. The witches love America, and they hate illegals. The witches are very beautiful. If I said it like that, would you listen, Mama Mina? Would you listen to me then? Grab her by the pussy. Grab her by the pussy. I just want to make sure. Is an actor not a boogeyman? I know. It's a joke.
Mr. Smith, in January of 2023, did you subpoena then Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's toll records?
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered.
Yes, sir, we did.
Mr. Gill is recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Smith, in January of 2023, did you subpoena then Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's toll records?
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November.
Oh, you're a tough guy. We're not going to delay like this. Just answer. Just re-ask the question.
Of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing
It
to do
was
with one.
16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll
You were
records-
collecting months worth of phone data.
So, do you agree that you broke this law? No, I don't agree. Oh, well, too bad. You can't answer. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're not going to let him answer? Watch the entire hearing this week and want him off? Fair enough. I don't expect me to watch the entire hearing because that's way too much. I got work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But we'll watch a good chunk of it. They spying his campaign or not? No evidence. And that
The Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote, that sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those.
Oh my God, I can't watch this full thing if he can't answer a fucking question. Like, how annoying is it where anytime he's about to answer, they cut him off after the first couple of words? I don't get how any like intelligent MAGA person would go like, "Oh, this is good," and they go like, "Oh, he didn't answer the question." He can't answer the fucking question. They keep cutting him off.
Non-disclosure orders. Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns.
Bro, Martin, are you stupid? How am I gonna listen to something that's not said? Maybe I'm misinterpreting what you're saying. Maybe I give you the grace, but when you respond like that, I'm like, what? Why don't you listen first? He can't say anything. What am I listening to? I can't listen to words that are not being said.
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk?
He's not cutting the witness. Oh, base. The witness is playing good. Oh, that's how MAGA rationalizes it. Even though he only says a couple words. Let's hear how many words he says before he's cut off. Let's hear it.
Toll record subpoenas, we did secure.
Ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith.
That's all he fucking said. He said like 2 sentences. Barely 2 sentences. How's that not cutting him off? He didn't even get to fucking finish his sentence. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? Oh, okay. So this is how it works. You guys don't give a shit on what he says. You don't care about context. You guys don't care about information. You guys don't care about evidence. That's how it works. You guys actually don't want to know the reality because you live in this deluded world of pretend of where Donald Trump is Jesus Christ for y'all, and he's going to fix all your problems, even though nothing has been fixed since Donald Trump has become president. You know, shout out. Shout out. W. Cooking.
At the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be
You
associated.
think that the Speaker of the House is a flight?
Bro, let him finish a fucking sentence. Oh my God.
Answering the question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think
This is my time, so I'm not gonna let him talk. Like, what the fuck are we doing? We can't get any information from this. Let him talk.
the Speaker of the House is a
Finish
flight
answering the
risk?
question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No, what I was trying to explain is with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. The risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records. But I've got more, so let's move on. In May of 2023, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative.
Okay, so that line of question was dog shit. He didn't prove a single thing. Anytime he said, "Oh, Kevin McCarthy was in, and you broke this policy, right?" And then Jack Smith was like, "No, I didn't. Actually, this is how it works." And then he's like, "No, fuck no, you can't answer it. You can't explain it. No, you're not allowed to explain it. No, we can't allow you to explain it. Fuck no." So he said no explanation. Then he went on this like, "Oh, let me get him on this gotcha. You said he was a flight risk. This document says flight risk." And then Jack Smith was about to explain. He's like, "No, he's not a personal flight risk, but based off this procedure." And then before he could explain how it works, nope, you can't explain it. Nope, you can't explain it. Fuck no, moving on. Based.
Is that right?
In May,
Senators. So let's move on. In May of 2023, you also issued subpoenas for toll records of 9 U.S. senators and an additional representative. Is that right?
in May of 23, we did issue.
You did, and there were non-disclosure orders in conjunction with those subpoenas as well, right?
That's correct, consistent with department policy and
Right.
the law.
So again, nobody would know what you were doing. The senators would, and the representatives would, and the American people wouldn't know what you were doing. Is that right?
The toll records that we secured and the non-disclosure orders were consistent with policy and consistent.
And you knew whenever you were doing that there was a risk you were violating the speech or debate clause. Is that right?
The toll record subpoenas that we secured were with the concurrence of the public integrity.
Your own analysis says that you knew there was a risk you were violating the speech.
Again, just because there's a risk doesn't mean you're breaking a law. It's like, I know MAGA people are so stupid. They go like, "Oh, risk. That means he's doing something bad. Risk." And it's like, just because there's a risk of something, it doesn't mean anything if you don't actually break the law, right? Like, it's the same idea as if I'm driving without my seatbelt, there's a risk and I'm going to die because I'm going to go right through my windshield. But if I do this entire trip and I don't die, then yeah, the risk was there, but I didn't die. So nothing bad happened. You know that is just like, they're just playing these fucking the little games to get gotchas. And anytime they try to explain how this fucking works, or anytime they try to use evidence, it's like, nope, you can't talk, cutting you off. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I'm the Mad King of America. Jamie Lannister can stop the Mad King. We just need a Jamie Lannister. It's Scott, if you see a kindergarten that talks as well as I do, then I'm be honest, that kindergarten is smarter than you too. I'm be honest. You're dumb as fuck. Lock in. Yeah, it's like
Debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team. As you are aware, quote,
whether or not I know the speech and debate clause is relevant to analyzing the current cross-examination, because you can't make the claim that you're doing something bad or you're breaking this clause to another individual, and you are asking you're trying to make a declarative statement, but you're really just making an accusation. At the bare minimum, you're asking a question on, is this what you're doing? And if you don't allow him to explain, if he says no because, and you don't hear the because, then yes, I can make an assessment and an analysis on this cross-examination being very clearly about optics and not about substance. I know that's hard for people to really figure out the intentionality of people based on how words are being used or based on how procedures are being implemented. But in this conversation, it's very clear that they are focusing on optic wins to appease a lot of magtards. So yeah, that's exactly what's going on. If I am willing to hear out, if I hear something, I hear an answer, I hear it being substantiated and explained, then I can be able to come to an astute analysis on whether or not he broke or did something that is unethical, morally wrong, or legally incorrect. That's why when they did the whole thing about with like, did you do this? And like one of the other questions when a Democrat asked was like, nah, the answer didn't sound good. It wasn't a good question. It wasn't a good answer. Well, yeah, certain analysis is hard for some people who have a MAGA education. I get it. I understand. It's tough. It's a tough thing.
as you are aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of.
I bet you get 6 cuts in your mouth at the same time. I can't. There's no way I can fit 6 in my mouth at the same time. It's impossible. I don't think I could do it for sure.
Whole records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the DC Circuit. That's from your own analysis.
Okay. This might be interesting. Hold on.
Debate clause. I have it right here. This is an email from John Keller at Public Integrity Section to your team. As you are aware, quote, as you are aware, there's.
We finally got some evidence, so now we can dissect this. So this is from John Keller to someone else. Don't know who that is. Thanks, Molly. Good to hear from you. I'm glad you're settling into your new role. Based on the email below and conversation, Penn concurs in the subpoenas for toll records for the identified members of Congress from January 4th, 2021 through January 7th, 2021. As you're aware, there is some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the DC Circuit. So there's a risk, not that it broke it, that there's a risk it might break it. See United States v. Rayburn House Office Building, then this is the code. The bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. A grand jury investigation, thus telephone calls placed or received by the member or his staff in gathering from outside information, which weighed in the process of deciding how to vote, in drafting legislation, and in preparing for argument, may be still privileged as to use against them, even if not as to use against third parties. The case law is clear. The legislature asserting the invasion of the speech or debate clause privilege by use of grand jury subpoena to a third party may intervene and impose such use. If even putting aside the government's potentially meritorious argument, the calls over the relevant period, especially unsolicited incoming calls, would not constitute protected legislative acts, given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. So it's an assessment of understanding of the law of what they can do potentially, but overall they said the litigation risk should be minimal. So even though this is a potential thing they can argue, because people need to realize law a lot of times in determination of like things that are up in the air, whether it's civil or criminal, law is based off like how you perceive it, interpret it, and if you can apply it to a logical argument that can set good precedent moving forward, right? That's a lot of like what law is and what these kind of trials are. So in a situation where it's a interpretation based, whether or not this interpretation falls under this kind of reasoning, you have to make either a pro or anti argument for said thing. In this situation, just because there is a potential argument, because in every case there needs to be a realization, they can argue this based off this law. So we need to have an argument for this law. Does not mean that they're breaking the law. It just means that this is a potential thing that can be argued, or this could be a potential thing that can be said that we're doing that is incorrect based off the legal ramifications. So in the sense of this conversation here, there is no concrete evidence that they're breaking the law, they're doing something unethical. They're just understanding the risk. Understanding risk is not a problem. It's not wrong. It's not illegal. It's just understanding risk. That's just normal things. Scott, should I speak slower for you? I know I speak at a kindergarten level, so I don't know if you understood it, to be honest. This is the alien disclosure. You know what screams bull, blah, 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 poop slur?
Some litigation risk regarding whether compelled disclosure of toll records of a member's legislative calls violates the speech or debate clause in the DC Circuit. That's from your own analysis right there. So you did know, didn't you?
Sir, with respect to the item you just put up on the screen, the last sentence states...
oh, we're going to get to the last sentence.
Oh, okay. Still not allowed to answer. Got you. It said meritorious. They also said the litigation risk is minimal. Like, you got to understand the full context of like what is going on. It's just your perception of certain things that you would use that qualifies under the argument that you want to make. But again, I'm not repeating. Fucking lock it, bye. I'm not repeating because MAGA doesn't understand. I'll be honest.
Okay. We're going to get to the last sentence. And you cite case law in here, quote, the bar on compelled disclosure is absolute. Is that right? Or do you think that...
I'll rob you and say, well, I believe that I owe the money first, so it's not against the law. That's a fucking dumb as fuck analogy, Colton. That's not, no. That's not how it works at all. I said when you're in a trial and you're arguing from law, perception of law, crime is crime. Like, what are we talking? Okay. Oh man, it's so like having an intellectual conversation with MAGA is like fucking trying to have a conversation with a Cowboys fan on why the Cowboys are frauds every year. It's just impossible. It won't happen.
You didn't have to abide by that precedent.
To be clear, this statement is not from my office. This is the statement.
This is your justification for those subpoenas and NDOs that you ordered. This was part of your analysis. It's a cursory analysis. I think it's worth noting. But let's get to that last sentence then. Quote, given my understanding of the low likelihood that any of the members listed below would be charged, the litigation risk should be minimal here. In other words, you're using a novel legal theory, which you knew was novel, has never been tested by any court. You're not charging any of these members. Nobody's going to know about it because you issued NDOs. Nobody's going to sue about it, so sue this. So who cares? We're going to do it anyways. I mean, you walked all over the Constitution throughout this entire process,
Chairman, the gentleman's time
spying on members of Congress, and you know it. It's absolutely disgraceful. I yield back.
Gentlemen, bro did not get to give like any qualification on anything here. He's just been told this is what you did, this is what you did, this is what you did. This is what these. Yeah, I'm like the Republicans are answering their own question. Like, you're not going to let them answer. Come on. If you're going to make the accusation, let him answer the fucking accusation.
And yields back. Not going to be charged. They're not going to see it. They're not going to know because we're not going to tell them. So let's go ahead and do it. Is exactly what happened. The gentleman from Tennessee is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Smith, it's great that you've been allowed to come here and testify to the American public. Is there anything you'd like briefly to discuss that Mr. Gill brought up on the reasons why you needed those phone records and the limitations that you thought might have been on you and the prosecution because of to risk the investigation?
Sure. And I would begin by pointing out that the email that was referenced wasn't a justification from my office. It was an email from the Public Integrity Section to my office approving the subpoenas. The subpoena.
You hear what that said? So they said there's a risk here, but you're approved. So he didn't do anything illegal. He got approved. Crazy. Let's continue. Let's continue. I wonder. Let's continue.
That we secured with non-disclosure orders from a judge because I had grave concerns about obstruction of justice in this investigation, specifically with regards to Donald Trump. Not only did we have the obstruction of justice that we were investigating in the classified documents case, but I was aware during the course of our investigation of targeting of witnesses during the course of the conspiracy itself. There were election workers who had their lives turned upside down and received vile death threats because they were targeted by Donald Trump and his co-conspirators. I had a duty to protect witnesses in this investigation.
Bro, you're cooked, bro. You're so cooked. You're focusing on very minute details without understanding the broader picture. They understood the risk. The department that we're referring to said it's okay, just understand the risk. But you probably think everybody is corrupt that's not Donald Trump. You're probably one of those.
Risk, that threat to witnesses, was only confirmed when we went forward in this case, and Donald Trump suggested that one witness should be put to death, and then also issued a statement to the effect of, if you come after me, I'm coming after you. In my mind, I can't think of a more direct threat to witnesses and individuals involved in that proceeding. Given that sort of threats, it was, in my view, completely appropriate to protect the integrity of the investigation, to protect against destruction of evidence, and to protect the witnesses in our case.
And just
so that is his answer. The reason why he did the procedure he did, that was legal, that was approved, is because of risk of tampering, obstruction, and of threatening of certain individuals, which we know that the Donald Trump and MAGA administration does. We know they do this like 100%. So that is his reasoning on going about the procedure this way. There you go. He answered. Of course, MAGA doesn't give a fuck. I know you guys don't give a fuck. You don't care. You just believe Donald Trump. But we finally got the answer. The Republicans didn't want that answer to get out, but we finally got an answer.
make clear, you did not see any of the discussion. There was not any, it was just the content that they made a call to the president, vice versa, but nothing about any content whatsoever.
That's correct. A toll record subpoena gives you who a call is from, who it is to, and the length of that call. It does not tell you the content of what people are speaking about.
You felt that you had.
So the tapped records was just evidence of the communication, not the content of the communication. A very interesting and very different distinction as well. You know how it's like a breath of fresh air when it's oh my God, I can't believe it. When you hear Democrats are asking the questions, it's a breath of fresh air. We actually hear the substance. We hear the information. I know MAGA's used to just being told what to think, but it's good to just hear the context, to hear the evidence. It's a breath of fresh air. Thank you.
The case that was one that you would win beyond a reasonable doubt, no moral certainty. Is there anything in your facts that you had that you would have used at trial that you believe has not been presented to the public in the past or have been misrepresented to the public?
Is there anything
essential facts that you had that you felt would have resulted in a conviction of the president on the charges that he was indicted upon?
I think my report, the report of our case.
Yo, guys, why do you keep on talking about aliens, bro? He's talking about you guys are all stupid. Now look up the aliens. I rock with it. I fuck with it. I'm not gonna lie.
The final report summarizes the evidence, I think, in a way that is gives a fair rating of the strength of the case.
And you have no question but have been successful before jury.
My
Brute, they explained it multiple times. It does not violate the speech and debate clause. They said it multiple times. It doesn't. The best the Republicans can do is that there was a litigation risk beforehand. And I already explained that a litigation risk does not prove that it's an illegal. It's just a risk of litigation that can be used in the contrary.
Review of the case, I came to the conclusion we had proof beyond a reasonable doubt. We were ready, willing, and able to go to trial in the case. Of course, as I said in my opening statement, prosecutors can't control outcomes, but I felt confident in pursuing the case to trial.
Did Merrick Garland ever pressure you to bring an indictment or to do anything in your investigation?
No.
Did anybody else in the administration, President Biden, Vice President Harris, et cetera?
I was given the independence to conduct my investigation, and I came to the decision to bring charges in this case without undue influence from anybody in the department.
And you dropped the case. Why did you drop the case?
The cases against Donald Trump were dismissed pursuant to department policy.
Department policy, the Office of Legal Counsel said if somebody's president, you can't bring a charge against them or they can't be held liable. Is that correct?
That's correct. There had not been a case of this nature ever where someone was elected president with charges pending. And so that was slightly different. So we consulted with with the Office of Legal Counsel, and they determined pursuant to policy that the cases needed to be dismissed.
And you weren't pleased with that, but you had to follow the law, and that's what you did.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, because Donald Trump has immunity. He dropped the case because he was like, I can't do anything with it. I can't do anything. I wonder if he's going to bring it back up after he's not president. I wonder if you can. I don't know if you can or not. I wonder if you can.
We followed policy throughout my investigation. My job was not to set policy. My job was to follow it, and that's what we did.
I want to thank you for your service.
Bro, what did I said before? If you can repeat to me the first time you asked the question what I told you, then I'll respond to you. If you can't, then I'm not fucking responding to you because you're not listening. So you need to log in.
I think you're a great American, and you came out of this as being somebody who people can respect and look up to in a fashion that we should be instilling people's desire to go into justice, to go into law, and to go into government. You're an example of the type of person they should follow. You
can't repeat it.
The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
Mr. Smith, there's something that's really bothering me since your deposition. It's how and why you got the position of special counsel and your personal relationship with Marshall Miller. Let's go back to 1999 when you were working for the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York. Is that when you first met Marshall Miller?
Yes.
So after ED New York, did the two of you ever work together again prior to becoming special counsel? According to the public bios for you and Mr. Miller, you overlapped at DOJ from 2014-15 when you were chief of DOJ's Public Integrity Section and Mr. Miller was chief of staff for DOJ's Criminal Division. Is that accurate?
I believe that is accurate, yes.
Okay, so were the two of you social outside of work?
I would say intermittently, yes.
Okay, but after 20 years of knowing each other, it's safe to say you were friends, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's fast forward to 2022. Mr. Miller is appointed Principal Associate Deputy Attorney General at DOJ, the number 3 at DOJ. You call your friend to congratulate him, and according to the deposition transcript, you say you'd be interested in a position at DOJ. Is that correct?
Yes. What I recall is that I expressed an interest.
I'm looking at the chat, Brute. I'm not reading it. Again, Brute, repeat to me what I told you the first time. If you can repeat it to me, we can talk. Moving forward, if you can't repeat it to me, I'm just not responding to you. Because you asked the question and I responded to you the first time.
If the right position came up, I would be interested in.
But at that point, there's no discussion about special counsel. Is that correct?
This is some time ago, and so I don't have
interested in a position at DOJ. Is that correct? DOJ, the number 3 at DOJ. You call your friend to congratulate him, and according to the deposition transcript, you say you'd be interested in a position at DOJ. Is that correct?
Yes. What I recall is that
charges were dismissed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're kind of working on a way because the presidential immunity stuff is new. So I don't know if there's going to be a way to kind of bring it back. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see this new interpretation of presidential immunity, what it kind of allows you to do, or what it kind of allows you to kind of get away with. I guess the boundaries of getting this type of immunity within presidential acts is very questionable. I'm very curious to see afterwards, after he's not president, how this is going to play out.
I expressed an interest if the right position came up, I would be interested in.
But at that point, there's no discussion about special counsel. Is that correct?
This is some time ago, and so I don't have a specific recollection of all these conversations.
So you were first approached about special counsel and that role before the 22 midterm elections. And according to the deposition transcript in October of 2022, you fly to DC, meet with the AG and the Deputy Attorney General. Is that correct?
Yes, I flew to DC, I believe it was in October, and I met the Deputy Attorney General, and also I met the Attorney General.
So in multiple conversations with your friend Marshall Miller, he never once tipped you off that the Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General have you on the short list for special counsel? That never came up?
Again, this was some time ago, but my recollection is I came to Washington and I met with those individuals as well as the human rights section. Marshall Miller is the person who set that up.
So he was at the meetings. Was he at the meetings? So just to tie all this together, you've known Mr. Miller.
So he's trying to do a fucking weak ass line of questioning. You had a friend that was in this committee, and he's trying to make the claim that they were conspiring to get you elected as special counsel because you knew someone. Come on, like, what is this weak ass questioning? I'm gonna be honest, especially when it comes down to, if we're talking about corrupt inclusions of power. Like, Donald Trump put his lawyers and his friends in some of the weirdest positions. Stop. Let's not play the you're friends with this guy so you get this power, this amount of power. Let's not do that. Not when the MAGA administration exists. He's got his sons, his daughters, he's got his friends, his lawyers in so many positions of power. Stop. This is pathetic. This questioning sucks.
Since you were both AUSA in New York, you stayed in touch over a 20-year career in federal government. He gets a job with the Biden administration, and just a few short months later, you're offered the role of special counsel. I'm having a hard time believing that this is some big coincidence and that there wasn't a back and forth on the special counsel. So maybe you never received directives explicitly from the AG or the Deputy Attorney General, but was Marshall Miller?
Since you asked a different question, Brute, because you still refuse to remind me of what I said, because you refuse to do it. So, I mean, cooked. Whataboutism is only relevant if they're equal. This is not equal. There's no evidence that there was a conspiracy of his friend getting him the job. There is evidence of Donald Trump putting certain people power. So it's not a whataboutism. It's this side actually does bad shit. There's no evidence of this bad shit on this side. So no, incorrect. Incorrect.
Did he become a two-way conduit throughout the investigation with DOJ?
No,
100%.
I would
William.
not take direction from a political person, a political figure, about how I should conduct an investigation.
But you never spoke to him throughout the entire time you were conducting the investigation?
No, I didn't say that. What I said was that he was, I think you asked if he was a conduit of information. He was present, to my recollection, at meetings, briefings that I had with the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General during my time as special counsel.
I mean, I don't want to assume anything, but Mr. Miller wanted you in that position, not because you're necessarily the best lawyer he ever met, but because of the long-term friendship that you have with him.
Brute, again, a terrible analysis. If you don't remember what I said, then again, I'm not addressing what I said that, and I've addressed you 3 times. Brute, you're good at that. You don't fucking listen. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, but you're good at rage baiting. Shout out. Respect. I'm not talking about cabinet positions, Brian. I'm not talking about cabinet positions.
What I can tell you is I have been a prosecutor for 30 years. I have been an apolitical public servant for 30 years. I prosecuted cases against Democrats and Republicans, all the same. I've had, in my view, the experience necessary for this position, and that's why I accepted it.
So he knew that you would pursue, he had to have an idea that you would pursue exactly what the Biden administration wanted, which was criminal charges against President Trump.
I think that anybody who knows me well knows the idea that I would take direction from a political figure
Brian, I don't know
about how an investigation should come out. I don't think anybody who knows me thinks that's true.
Well, Chairman Jordan, I think the next deposition should be with Marshall Miller at this point. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
That line of questioning was dog shit. He tried to make some very loose connections to say that there's some type of insider conspiracy. That shit was ass. MAGA's flailing. They have not had any substantive point that was made, and everything that they said has been debunked. Every single thing. And I guess that's why MAGA is trying to hold on to the minimal litigation risk. They're trying to hold on to that one bits of evidence. Even that shit has been debunked. MAGA has not had a single good question. This shit is ass.
Gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
And while we are deposing Marshall Miller, maybe we can depose Donald Trump about why he chose his personal lawyer to be the head of the DOJ.
Yeah, funny how that works, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
On January 6, 2026, the 5th anniversary of the insurrection, the White House launched a
Patty, you're
taxpayer-funded
cooking.
website that
You're
attempts to
amazing.
rewrite history about what happened on that
Patty,
day
you're
of
so
infamy.
smart, Patty.
On January 6, 2021, there was an insurrection at the United States Capitol that resulted in a police officer dying the next day, another 4 officers dying by suicide.
A lot of MAGA are just like fucking poor, dumb people who think that Donald Trump is going to save them, even though he's a billionaire and they frauded people time and time and time again. That's why. Just people don't know any better, who's not that educated, who think that Donald Trump is going to save their lives, and they're wanting to believe everything he's done, even though he's not helping their lives at all. So it's like, it's unfortunate how easy it is to manipulate the mass of people. It's just unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
The months thereafter, with at least 140 police officers being injured by the insurrectionists, with 15 of them requiring hospitalization. And I'm proud that we have 4 former officers as well as on-duty Capitol Hill police officers here today. Mr. Smith, I want to ask you about this website because the Trump administration is using taxpayer dollars to lie to the American people about the events leading up to and the events taking place on January 6, 2021. For example, this Trump propaganda site claims that the 2020 election was, quote, stolen. Mr. Smith, did your investigation uncover evidence sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump knew that his claim that the election was stolen was false?
Yes, it did.
And did your investigation uncover evidence sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Donald Trump publicly claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him while he privately acknowledged that he had lost the election?
Yes, we cited instances of that during in our case.
But yet here we see that on the 5th anniversary of the insurrection, the Trump White House propaganda machine is still promoting the stolen election.
I'll be honest, I made a joke about the woman behind the mafia looking boss dude, and a girl just holding. I'm gonna have to keep it consistent. Why the fuck is there just someone just holding a sign in the back? You can't have a stand. Come on. Just do it. Like, why are we just getting these? I'm guessing these are like college students. It has to be like interns or some shit.
Theory on this government webpage with a text box titled, quote, fraudulent election, stolen election certified, end quote. The site also has a subsection reading in part, quote, FBI entrapment operation exposed. Mr. Smith, did your investigation develop any evidence to support the allegation that the FBI entrapped insurrectionists into committing crimes on January 6th?
Our investigation revealed that Donald Trump is the person who caused January 6th, that it was foreseeable to him, and that he sought to exploit the violence.
This website also accuses you of being a, quote, Biden prosecutor who brought, quote, weaponized charges against Mr. Trump. Mr. Smith, were you a Biden prosecutor who weaponized the Department of Justice against Donald Trump?
Absolutely not.
Did Attorney General Merrick Garland direct you to prosecute Trump because Donald Trump was running against Joe Biden in the presidential election?
No.
There are also allegations that President Trump was the victim of, quote, lawfare, and accusations that the Department of Justice lawyers who prosecuted Donald Trump used, quote, fabricated indictments and rigged show trials. Did you, Mr. Smith, or the men and women working on your team work to fabricate indictments or put on rigged?
Well, Colton, the issue with your analogy is that it's not analogous. There's no crime that is being committed regarding what fucking Jack Smith did. There is a clear crime being committed from stealing money from someone. I know MAGA wants it to be a crime. I know they're making up all these fantasies because they have no evidence of anything else. There is no crime being committed for what Jack Smith did. That's why he got it approved by the committee first. So it's like got it approved, got it assured, and then went through with it. Everything he's done was within law and within policy and within the legal boundaries. But I mean, MAGA is like, anytime Donald Trump says something's a crime, you guys just believe it's a crime. It's whatever. It's whatever. It's I mean, I've been through this. You prove them wrong, you give them evidence, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Show trials?
No, we secured indictments from grand juries, and we were prepared to prove our case in court beyond a reasonable doubt.
Did you use your appointment as special counsel to conduct a politically motivated
You can't get
witch
approval for committing a crime.
investigation and prosecution of Donald Trump?
Stupid point to make.
I did not. We followed the facts, and we followed the law. Where that led us was to an indictment of an unprecedented criminal scheme to block the peaceful transfer of power.
And those indictments have been dismissed. Can they be rebrought or resurrected after this, after Trump leaves office?
They were dismissed without.
I'm not MAGA, but legally at it. I agree. If he broke the law, then yeah, he would have broke the law and I would have called it out, but he didn't. They didn't.
Prejudice.
So they can be refiled. And he can be prosecuted after he leaves office. Is that correct?
I'm not going to speak to that. I can only speak to what we did, which was dismiss the case without prejudice.
All right. The website put out by the Trump White House on the anniversary of January 6th is nothing more than a pack of lies. It proves that Donald Trump is hell-bent on misusing taxpayer dollars in a feeble attempt to rewrite his criminal history and the history of what happened on January 6, 2021. And with that, I yield back. But I would like to, Mr. Chairman, offer for the record unanimous consent. A statement from Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency released on November 12th, 2020 that states the November 3rd election was the most secure in American history.
Objection.
And also testimony from, I would like to request unanimous consent.
There's nowhere he said it was not lawful, Colton. You're making that shit
September
up.
24th, 2020 testimony of Trump's former FBI Director Chris Wray, who told Senate Homeland Security, the Homeland Security Committee of the Senate, that the FBI had, quote, not seen or historically had any kind of coordinated national voter fraud effort in a major election.
Without objection.
And last but not least, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record this article titled "Disputing Trump, Barr Says No Widespread Election Fraud."
Without objection. The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, on November 18th, 2022, AG Garland appointed you as special counsel. Can you tell me about your swearing in or the oath of office that you took after that?
I don't recall the specifics of it. I know I was sworn in. I don't recall the specifics of how that was done.
You don't remember who swore you in?
I don't.
Would you agree that taking the oath of office is a legal requirement for the job that you had?
I've taken oaths of office regularly. I haven't researched whether it's required or not, but I've done that, I think, in every government case.
It is required. Terms I heard earlier today were atypical, irregular, no proper procedure. Yet in your opening statement, you said that we followed Justice Department policies, and I would assume you meant the law as well. It strikes me as odd that you don't remember who swore you in, how you were sworn in. It's pretty significant. We all get sworn in here, and I remember every day. You don't remember who swore you in.
What the fuck is this line of questioning? You don't remember who swore you in? What are we doing? This is a joke. I'm gonna be honest. This is a joke. This is a joke.
I don't remember the details of it as I sit here today.
But you did take the oath of office before you got rolling.
I think my recollection is it was when I was appointed.
It was when. It strikes me as odd that Attorney General Garland had you retake the oath of office on the 14th of September of the following year. Why did he make you do that?
As I sit here right now, I do not recall. I know that there is the oath of office that I signed. I believe it was on the 18th, the day that I was appointed. And I know the department had me do a second one. I don't know the particulars of why they asked me to do it again, but I know
you signed it on the 20th of November 2022, but there was no witness, which, I mean, you have to agree, it's a little odd. If there's no witness saying that you took the oath of office, it would maybe make someone like me question whether or not you were legitimately doing the job until you finally took the oath of office. It sounds like the Attorney General had the same question and thought, oh shit, we got to have him sign this on the 14th day of September of the following year. So why did you take the oath of office again on the 14th of September of the following year when you say you took the office in November of 2022? Why'd you need to do it twice?
My recollection is that I took the oath of office, as you said, it was the 18th or the 20th, and felt I was under the oath of office. I believe, if you have it in front of you, I think I signed an oath.
You signed it, but there was no witness. There was supposed to be either notarized or a witness. And apparently Attorney General Garland thought it was significant enough to have you do another oath 11 months later. That's strange, right?
I don't know why they asked me to sign it again. I don't recall ever discussing this issue with Attorney General Garland.
Well, that is just wild to me. I'd like to yield the balance of my time to Mr. Jordan.
Well,
Okay. So the oath stuff, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very substantive, but it can be something that can be weaponized, which when it comes to the standard of like weaponization, the bar doesn't need to be too high when it comes to MAGA. The oath stuff is an interesting attack strategy. I mean, the idea that you remember everybody who's sworn you in, that's bullshit. When I got sworn in the military, I don't fucking remember the people who was in that room that swore me in. That's fucking bullshit. He's full of shit. However, do you need witnesses for when you swear an oath with a... Well, actually, there was witnesses when I swore in the military. So that is a little bit... You could say that's pretty odd. And then he swore in a second time to be absolutely sure. I could see... This is probably the only one that's like... I can see it being an actual potential attack on Jack Smith. They can't really attack the evidence, and then the other stuff that they've been trying to attack has been so fucking cookie cutter. This one's interesting. I remember the event. I don't remember all the people in here. I remember the event. He said he remembers writing it down, so he remembers the event too, based off what Jack Smith said. This guy tried to make the point that he remembers all the people that swears him in. That's fucking bullshit. No, he doesn't. But that is an interesting point. They are grasping at technicalities, but those technicalities can be weaponized. That's just the truth. These technicalities can be weaponized. Jack Smith. The oath thing, I'm sure that when he was prepping for this, they never went over like the oath stuff, so that probably caught Jack Smith off guard. Special counsel status as opposed to DOJ is different. It has to be sworn an oath to be a special counsel status. Was Jack Smith sworn by oath for special counsel? Let's see if we could find any information on that. Someone all evidence? I don't know. I mean, they already dropped the case because of his criminal immunity. Legalities, all technicalities, I guess so. Sure. What they're trying to prove is what question mark that the investigation was false. They're trying to prove that he was never fully in the capacity of being special counsel, and that can make everything he's done. I mean, it could make everything he's done like inadmissible and just thrown out potentially. So I'm curious to see if I can find any information about this. Upon his November 2020 appointment. So apparently I'm not a robot. So, okay. Oh. So this is the oath of office for John Smith. This memorandum serves as a record that an appointment affidavit has been signed and executed for the appointment of John Smith, special counsel, November 18, 2022. Was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland to serve as special counsel by order, blah, blah, blah. Signed in SF on November 20th, 2022. Upon receiving documentation, it was discovered that a witness signature was missing as Mr. Smith is on board. So it was missing because he was on board while overseas. So that's why the witness signature is missing, is what the claim is here. Consulted with the Office of General Counsel to ensure proper corrective action. OGC's recommendation and advice was to re-administer the oath of office and is evident a new SF1. So basically, he was sworn in because he was overseas. They could not get a witness signature. Not really sure why. I'll be honest. I don't know how that works. Why? I would have to look that up now. But that is the reason why. I think someone in the chat was saying that he was in England. They did say when they consulted with the JMD Human Resources, they can just fix it later. So if they got confirmation already prior that we'll get this fixed later, I mean, as long as that's all approved, he should be good. Let me look up. Is there something I could look up that says, can you get a witness signature for a oath overseas? I don't know how that works necessarily. I don't know what to look up here. So this source, I don't know how legit it is. This is for something else, but at the very least, this might generalize what we need to know. Documents that are going to be used for overseas purposes, be it for individual, can only be signed by a notary public. What about witnesses? Cannot overseas. Let me see if I can find something in particular. Oh, there's nothing more. Cannot. Depending on the type of document that's being authenticated and where it's going to be used, if the country which the document will be used in the process is simpler. So it has to be done. It has to be like legitimized in the country of use. So obviously the United States of America is my general understanding. If it think, I mean, Bert, I don't trust you. You're fucking. You have you just think of things binarily. But so I mean, he spoke with the consulted with the junior counsel, ensure proper corrective action. So the question is, he went to the Office of General Counsel. Their advice is to re-administer the oath of office at a different date. Now the question is, could they have done it sooner? Because they didn't do it until September. Was that September 14, 2023? Could this have been sooner? Maybe. I don't know how long all this shit takes. But it was advised. The general counsel did say this is okay. But I do think this can be attacked. I will say, I'm gonna be honest. I think this can be attacked unless there is a specific policy on like as long as you got approval, you should be okay. Maybe they're going to figure that out. When you know you're up against like the MAGA administration that will use anything to attack you, as we've seen with like the Letitia James bullshit, and they're trying to attack like obviously what's his name? Why do I think his name is Jerome Ford? What's his name? The Fed chair, that dude. And then obviously they're trying to figure out the stuff with Lisa Cook, and the Supreme Court's looking like they're saying, yeah, you can't fire Lisa Cook. Your reasoning's fucking suck ass. This is more than likely how it's going to go. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I think if things in legal, what the law says, not what I hope it says. Is there any proof around accepting 50? Any evidence? I have no idea what you're referring to. Meanwhile, you have Tom Homan taking $50,000. Oh yeah, that whole leaked video of him taking money. Yeah, I hear you there. Trump should be in prison. Oh yeah. Jerome Powell. I don't know why I was thinking of Jerome Ford for some reason. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, somehow. I mean, there's that video. We'll see if that ever gets figured out in court regarding the Tom Homan stuff. Oh, of course, we know regarding that. But this is the first legitimate thing that MAGA brought up where it can be attacked. First legitimate thing. It can definitely be attacked.
Which one was it? This one?
Which one counted? I think that's what the gentleman's asking.
I understood myself to have taken the oath of office when I assumed the job.
How much money did you? Okay, how much money did you spend in the investigating President Trump? How much money did your office spend?
I do not recall as I sit here now, but I know that pursuant to.
Why are you protecting Tom Homan? There are crooked officials in D.C. Yeah, Tom Homan. Interesting one to protect. Defecation is the answer. What the fuck?
I believe it's the special counsel regulations. Reports were issued each 6 months detailing how much
we gathered at $35 million. And what I want to know is how much of that $35 million of taxpayer money, confidential human sources.
This question's fucking ass. Taxpayer money? Are we serious? Get the fuck out of here. That question is ass. Jim Jordan's a fucking wacko. He's already been cooked. He's cooked. He's so cooked.
Danny Hodges, Sergeant Cannell, Mike Fanone, they did everything right. These guys, my Republican colleagues, are a joke. They're wrong. History will harshly judge them. So I want you to lean in today. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You did everything right, sir. And these guys are so lucky they're not under oath, because they would have to tell you what they really think of Trump. They call him crooked. They call him cruel. They call him a scumbag. I've heard you all say it. You're lucky you're not under Trump, but when the lights go on and the cameras are on, you're tiny, you're small, you shrink.
Damn.
Everyone remembers Matt Gaetz coming over here after a committee hearing. He would laugh at how stupid he thought Trump was. This is all a show. And Mr. Smith, you're just the latest act that they've brought in. But they can't erase what happened on January 6th because we saw it with our own eyes. Mr. Smith, after the mainstream media called the race for Biden about a week after the election, did Donald Trump concede the election?
He did not.
The next month, the Electoral College met in every state and voted Biden as the winner. Did Donald Trump concede then?
He did not.
Shortly after that, the last court case that Donald Trump brought was thrown out. Did he concede then?
No.
Is it your judgment then that only Donald Trump could have convened the mob in the size that it was assembled on January 6th?
Our assessment of the evidence is that he is the person most responsible for what happened on January 6th. He caused what happened. It was foreseeable to him. And then when it happened, he tried to exploit it in furtherance of the conspiracy.
And you actually obtained indictments from a grand jury, right? You went to a grand jury and did something that the Trump administration has not been able to do as they go after their enemies. Their cases are being thrown out. You obtained criminal indictments against the president. Is that right?
That's correct.
Mr. Smith, do you know who Edward Loya is?
I'm sorry?
Edward Loya, L-O-Y-A?
I believe Mr. Loya worked at the public integrity section when I was.
Did you know that he said of you, when it comes to investigating allegations of sophisticated federal criminal matters, Jack Smith is the gold standard? Do you know who Mr. James McGovern is?
Yes, he was a prosecutor I worked with in New York.
Did you know that he said of you, I have no idea what Mr. Smith's political beliefs are because he's completely apolitical?
Damn, great session. Go crazy. You know, sometimes you need a little glaze section off of all the bullshit that the Republicans are spouting. Except that what the oath, I'm not gonna lie, the oath one was good. It was a good line of questioning. It's a good line of questioning in terms of like it can be used. Do I think it's legitimate? Do I think they actually believe that he did something unethical? No, I don't fucking believe that. And I don't believe that there was like this grand conspiracy that they did this overseas so Jack Smith could do things not under the qualms of being a special counsel. I think that's fucking bullshit. However, I recognize MAGA will use whatever it takes to attack their enemies. So that guy did something good. I'm sure Donald Trump will fucking tweet about it on True Social about, see, this guy was never supposed to be see, this guy was never supposed to be special counsel. He was not sworn under oath, so he should be thrown in jail. Everything he did was illegal. I could 100% see that happening for sure. 100%. No one's apolitical. What does apolitical mean to you? You know? Everyone here watching this now, I don't have a side or team on neither Democrat or Republican. I mean, fair enough. I don't know you. I haven't hated you. So shout out you. You've been I don't claim it, but I'm not tribal. Fair enough. I'm just honest with my thing. I hate MAGA because I think they're evil, and I hate leftists. And I like certain Republicans. I like certain conservatives. I sound like certain liberals. I like certain Democrats. I like certain principles. I like certain things that you could consider socialist, but I don't believe in socialism. I don't believe in communism. I don't believe in fascism. I don't believe in authoritarianism. I hate no one. I hate nothing. Fuck all that, boy. I hate evil. Evil. Hate evil. I am closer to God. You're evil. Oh, that's funny. You're a funny one, Colton. You've been fucking dumb as rocks, but you're a funny one. You're a funny one. That was a good one. That was a good one. Political means you don't go by any political belief. Oh, well, I think they're stupid. Paul, I can dislike someone. Fuck all that. I hate evil. You don't hate evil? You don't hate pedophiles? I just gave you an easy one. You don't hate Jeffrey Epstein? Come on. We don't gotta play moral justice warrior. It's okay to hate evil people. The Clippers won tonight. Who are the Clippers playing? The hatred around both sides. You hate the hatred around both sides, base. You know what? Respect it. I hate evil people. So nope, and I am a victim. You're a better person than me. No! Did the Clippers really beat the fucking Lakers? You're lying to me. How well did Luka play? Tell me Luka went off. I don't have hatred. I respect it. I say there are better people than me. My philosophy is that I would lead people to people who are like more humanitarian and want to focus on things that are good for people generally and have goodness in their heart. I'm not one of those people. I'd rather those people lead than me. But I respect people who do not have hatred, who can forgive. Even though I'm not religious, I do advocate for the principles of being like Jesus, because Jesus didn't hate anybody, even Judas. All right, be like Jesus. Luka went off, but they lost. What was Luka's stat line? He's talking like went off like 30-point triple double. I think like 40-point game, 50-point game. What are we talking? Peace out. Can you tell David he's not in timeout anymore? Brian, even though you were wrong, you were funny. Shout out you, Brian. Going after Smith because he proves Trump incited the attack on the Capitol. I mean, yeah, it's very clear. They have nothing. They can't attack his evidence. MAGAs can't attack his evidence. Near triple double. Is it like a 30-point game or a 40-point game? What are we talking about, like points wise? I would also have to look at like his turnovers too, and his like true shooting percentage. JD Vance for 2028. Ew, grody, nasty, disgusting. Come on. So is a complete degenerate, and Lou is a complete liar. Based. You're cooking. You're Himothy. The FC exposes sexual criminality and perversions. I agree. Epstein Files is a disgusting piece of work. I agree. I agree there. This will probably be the last line of questioning, then we wrap up for today. I think 3 hours is solid. Swallow. He has a weird fucking name. I'm not gonna lie. Swallow. I'm closer to God. Sounds very cult-like. You think God hates illegals? I think God hates illegals. Brute still refuses to tell me what I told him the first time. Trump is disgusting. Cringe. You got like old fucking decrepit white ladies trying to dance to Ice Ice Baby. Cringe. So honeypat Chinese spy and isn't in jail. Don't know much about Swallow, so I'm not going to defend him. Here's a thing about order. Learn something. Based. You're cooking. You're Himothy. Fuck. You're a true Christian, right? You're Himothy. The world sells off their United States Treasury bond. Our economy is screwed. There's a lot of things that could fuck our economy for sure. He said Randall again. Brian, fuck you. God bless you. Subscribe. Good night. You have a good night as well. Even though we had our differences, we had a good laugh. Enjoy your tariffs. No, I refuse. I don't want to enjoy tariffs. Embiid had a triple double against the Rockets tonight. Did he? Joel Embiid back? 76ers contenders? Tyrese Maxey all-star. Up to see. If they can stay healthy, the 76ers could be dangerous. The East is wide open. They are wide open. Anything can happen. Canada won't differentiate between legal and illegal immigration. I don't care how you feel about ICE. Based. Listen to my podcast about what illegal immigration means. You'll learn something. Trump has alienated the United States from everybody, including our facts. 100%. You're cooking. Morris, I'm with you. I hear. Our relationship with a lot of our allies are so fucked. The next Democratic president's gonna have to fix that shit. Not gonna lie. Or the Jews can't all evil, blah blah. That's how God works. Based. Give his place of worship. Based. Facts. Jesus wanted to get all the evil people out, I'm sure. BRICS countries don't need our SWIFT bank. Yeah. Treasury collected all the tariff money. Yeah. All right. What does the swallow have to say to wrap this up?
So are you a registered independent?
I have no partisan loyalties. I don't know if I'm registered as independent or not registered at all.
Are you glad you accepted Attorney General Garland's request to be a special prosecutor, even though you've been dragged over political barbed wire and your family has been subjected to death threats?
I don't regret it.
Do you remember where you were on September 11th?
I do.
What did you think of that day?
I was in Brooklyn when that happened. I was at the command center that night. I worked on that investigation. I remember pretty clearly.
Do you remember where you were on January 6th?
On January 6th, I was living in Europe working for the State Department seconded to a war crimes tribunal.
What did you think as you watched on television what happened at the Capitol that day?
To be honest with you, I don't recall if I saw it that day or a later day because of the time period.
What did you think when you saw it?
I was shocked. I was shocked by it. I obviously, being in Europe and not following things as closely, I was not, frankly, up to speed on the events leading up to it.
What shocked you about it?
I just never seen anything like that happen in our country.
Mr. Smith, I don't know if I'll ever have the honor to talk to you again. If I don't, please know that I and my colleagues on the Democratic side, and even my Republican colleagues when they speak privately, have nothing but respect and appreciation for what you tried to do and how you did it. You, unlike many here, are a man of honor. And I yield back.
W Glee session. I rock with it. I fuck with it. I'm gonna lie. All right, about to wrap things up. Let me read what you guys have got before I head out and go to sleep. Just got. I just kind of become an adversary. Hey man, because they're not the 51st state, they're the adversary. If you're on college healthcare, it's not their place for billionaires. Base defending billionaires. That's a match made in heaven. That's what they want. Keep doing it. Keep on feeding them. Good piggy. Come on. Keep on eating the pigsty. Do it. Do it. I knew Epstein before Trump. She did. There's a whole thing about how there's allegations, rumors. Don't sue me. Rumors that Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. There's rumors. You have to take care of yourself. Gotta have someone else do it. Based facts. You're cooking. Keep eating, piggy. Eat up, piggy. Eat up. Keep on making the billionaires richer. Eat up. Only Americans keep their students in debt. I won't say only America does, but I do think our education system is extremely flawed. If you use billionaires as a slur to poison the well, I hope you stay poor forever. Base facts. Eat up, piggy. Oink oink. Oink oink. Oink oink. Eat up, piggy. I don't hate billionaires like a lot of people on the left do, but I do think the billionaires need to be more involved in fixing America. No more sanctuary cities in America. No. Oh, we're spamming. W facts. Come on, Ramos. I mean, if a state wants to create a sanctuary city, they have the right to, right? State rights and all that. Do we care about that still? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe states' rights is only a good thing for Republicans. American, we don't educate, we indoctrinate. Yeah, I think there's something to be said to like condition or prepare people to like be able to be like a normal common man and be a worker in America. There's something to be said that not everybody has the ambition to be an entrepreneur or a leader or something like that. I mean, not everybody's suited to that. There's chiefs and there's Indians, right? However, the way we do our education system right now is so fucking flawed, and it does not teach you like basic necessary skills to enter into American life. That at this point, what is the point of like most education other than like social skills? And even that is lacking because kids are acting like fucking degenerates because of TikTok. And so I don't know at this point. Bring back FDR and a strong middle class. Definitely need a strong middle class for sure. No more sanctuary cities in America for Renee Nicole Good. I mean, she's already dead, so I don't know why you would create sanctuary cities for her. Democrats teach welfare. Democrats teach welfare. Welfare was actually created for white people. So it was created for old people and white women that have their husbands out on war. That's what welfare was created for. So just so we're on the same page on the who welfare was created for. Very smarter than us. We don't invest anymore in public education. We still have really good universities. I wouldn't say everybody's smarter than us. I do think a lot of developed nations are doing better in like K through 12. Our top universities are still super prestigious, but even then it's like, come on. Yep, Democrats use it now. Democrats use welfare. I don't know how they use welfare now. Welfare is a system that can be optimized. It could be better. I think welfare be better. Welfare buys the votes of those depending on it. No, the dumb way. There's a lot of people on welfare and SNAP benefits that vote Republican. Most of the Republican base are poor fucking people that are on these programs. So I don't know how it helps Democrats when a lot of them are voting Republican. That just makes no sense. It's a dumb take. Social Security is socialism. Some people say it's socialism. I'm like, I don't really care about the labels, because the only reason why you want to make that claim is to either attack Social Security or enforce the idea that this policy can allow for more socialism. I'm more like, if the program is good, the program is good. The labels are relevant. It's really about like how you intend to evolve the conversation. I think Social Security is probably a good thing, but I also think that there are other policies we should focus on, like helping the average American and the average person, the average citizen. We could definitely do better. Education should prepare you for a career. Colleges are ridiculously expensive in this country. Facts. Education should 100% prepare you for a career and prepare you to be an American citizen. Like, education, first and foremost, should prepare you to be an educated citizen that knows how to deal with like taxes, that knows how the government works, that knows that honestly kind of incentivizes you to be more involved in your community. Like, education should get you prepared to be a productive member of society. That's what it should be for. True, both R&D on welfare, just too many don't want to work. Too many don't want to work. There is a good amount of that like don't want to work. It's more so, okay, so there's like certain weird thresholds. I have a whole podcast episode. I might as well show you. This is an amazing podcast episode. I recommend people listening. I brought on a person who worked for one of those departments that help with like create systems for better like the things be so better care, better like welfare and stuff. But he's trying to create programs that really better people's lives versus ones that kind of keep them in the system. So here's the podcast episode, right? So it's which one was it? Definitely in 2025. Who'd I speak with? It's one of my favorite here. Fixing America's safety net solutions beyond welfare reform, Commissioner Clarence Carter. He spoke about how the system has like certain thresholds for welfare, and that if you do very well in this particular area, you might lose a lot of benefits. So it's not that they want to stay where they're at. It's more so that the system doesn't allow them to grow beyond that. Because let's say if they make a certain amount of money, they may lose certain food stamps for their kids. So it's like, do you want to make this amount of money? But if you make this amount of money and you can't afford food, it's like you're actually doing worse off. It's really kind of like a multivariable analysis. But what he talked about is that we should create a program that meets people's needs to ensure that they get out of welfare. And it's a very conditional program where you're not in there forever. We want you to get out of there as soon as fucking possible and never go back. So it's a very flawed system. It should be much more efficient, but I recommend people listen to that podcast episode in particular, because we had a really good conversation about doing like improving welfare. Yeah, I don't agree with socialism. Eliminate social security, earn the same as disability. Education job is to prepare you for careers, get to get staying on that level. Yeah, I agree. Our current education program is not. It's all about fucking. It's all about whatchamacallit, fucking learning how to do tests. That shit's ass. Nobody gives a fuck about tests. Everybody wants to live a normal and enjoyable life. Sounds like a Democrat channel. Is what I'm saying democratic? Sound like Democrat to you? It might. I don't know. I don't really care about the labels. I just want to create systems that are better for the people. That's the only thing I care about. What's wrong with that? The whole nation is a right channel. All right. A few bad eggs shouldn't ruin it for the rest who need it. I agree, 100%. Founders were not eligible. We asked if they were Christians. Yeah, the whole religion. We should really move beyond religion at some point. In Latin, MAGA literally means. Oh, you repeated that. You said that before. Shout out. You're all a bunch of fucking Nazis. Based. That's funny. Founder of America were made white, rich land and slave. Yeah, but we eventually have to create a better system beyond like race and wealth. I consider myself a good middle channel. Like, I literally, this guy right here is a MAGA supporter. And our conversation wasn't that toxic. Like there's a lot we disagreed with. Don't get me wrong. This conversation was pretty good, all things considered. All things considered. You're right. It's good. Doesn't you livers are more ignorant? Why don't you dye your hair green and cut your? I say you're a woman. The welfare deal. Not even gonna get into that. We know who lives on that base. Facts. You're cooking. You're Himothy. You're Himothy. You're so good. You're so smart. You're so smart, Bunny. The name Bunny sounds gay as fuck. But yeah, I'm good. I'm not like that. I like women a lot, arguably too much. Australia has an unemployment system that includes training so unemployed people can improve their job prospects. Like, I think that should be embedded, right? And it kind of is. So I did do unemployment for like a period of like 1 month because I was transitioning jobs and I couldn't do my next job until like way later. But they told me that I had to like do certain things, and there was no incentive for me to do it. I didn't need to. I already had a job lined up, but there's no incentive for me to do those things. And I would just get my unemployment check. So it's like we definitely need it's not even like a demand structure. I don't even want to say incentive structure, demand structure to force people to get off their ass, like for sure. The Great Divider. What could that be? I don't know. I do not know. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I might still make this into a video and put that out there. I don't know. There might be a long fucking video. I don't know how much people are going to watch a video. It's like 3 hours long, but maybe a lot of my videos are like hour plus long anyway. So I can hear the rambling regarding the Jack Smith stuff. So I'm sure. But almost to 1,000 subscribers, almost monetized officially. So you can start earning bread from all the stuff that I be doing. And yeah, appreciate everybody. We're about to wrap it up. Appreciate everybody tuned in for the vertical stream. It seems like people are rocking with it. The idea that people on benefits are ruining. I don't know what you mean. The system carries too much weight. It's a tiny fraction of abuse the system. I agree. 100% agree. It's a very tiny fraction. Like I said, people, if you really want to understand how our welfare system works, go listen to this podcast I had with Commissioner Clarence Carter, who worked in the Tennessee Department of Human Services. This guy literally worked in the system, and he told me how it works. Like, go, if you want to understand how this shit works, go listen to that podcast episode. 100%. Plug. Shamelessly. But I'm also trying to educate people because a lot of people don't know how this fucking works, and they be pushing misinformation out there, and it's really tiring. It's really annoying. They think that all black people, there's just a bunch of black people on welfare because they want to. There's this whole like thing about this random MAGA woman who fucking created AI videos of black women saying that they wanted to stay on welfare. That's just fucking disgusting. That is disgusting behavior. But that said, ladies, gentlemen, Russian, Iran, Nigeria hackers, and bots. Appreciate y'all. Subscribe to the channel. You have a good one. Take care. Peace.